Yet, within the fabled caverns of time, the past has come full circle. Despite the efforts of the Bronze Dragonflight, windows into Azeroth's history have opened wide, allowing adventurers to experience the past firsthand. Journey through Hillsbrad and Durnhold Keep when the young orc Thrall first set out to discover his epic destiny. Venture through the Black Morass, where the fallen Guardian Medivh first opened the Dark Portal and ushered in an age of chaos upon the world. Witness the majesty of the World Tree Nordrassil as 3 heroic armies join forces to defend it from the insidious Archimonth and put a final end to the Burning Legion's invasion of Azeroth. In the present, a proud, ancient race has embraced a new beginning. Quel'Thalas has been reborn. The High Elves, now known as Blood Elves, lost the source of their eternal power when their kingdom was ravaged by the undead scourge. Desperate to replenish their energies, they now siphon dark magics from beyond the world. Flush with their newfound strength, the Blood Elves have reclaimed their beloved Eversong Forest. Based within their capital of Silvermoon City, they continue their reckless quest to claim new sources of arcane power. Once staunch allies of the Alliance, the Blood Elves turned away from their former comrades in arms. Their obsession to gain power at any cost has set them on a collision course with the Horde, and a destiny they could not have foreseen. The call to arms has been sounded, as champions from both the Alliance and the Horde charge boldly into the realms beyond. The Burning Crusade rages on, and the time for heroes is now.
World of Warcraft, baby! Yeah! My nipples are all hard and
I'm gonna pwn noobs.
We're at EB Games in West Hollywood for the release of the Burning Crusade.
Waiting for the World of Warcraft expansion to come out.
Do you guys play together?
No, we play different servers. He's Horde, I'm Alliance.
Oh, that's like separate bedrooms.
Wait until she levels up so I can kill her.
we knew what a magnitude it would be, but, honestly didn't think it would be this big of a line.
There's a bunch of noobs here. I can see them.
Have your receipts ready. I'll make it go faster.
I'm looking forward to the new Alliance race.
New levels, new weapons, flying mounts, new professions, new races.
I'm looking for World PvP because I hate Horde, so I kill Horde when I see Horde.
Lord! I think I'm looking forward to my little pet that I'm going to get when I get the collector's edition.
I wanted the pet.
If someone doesn't play WoW, what do you say to convince them?
I really didn't have to say much. I got him into WoW. I got like 7 of my friends into WoW. My ex-girlfriend, emphasis on the ex.
I wouldn't talk to them if they don't play WoW.
It feels great. So who's hotter, the Night Elves or the Blood Elves?
Oh, the Blood Elves.
Blood Elves.
Night Elves. Night Elves.
I would say that the Night Elves are probably 17.334% hotter than the Blood Elves, repeating, of course.
My main is a Tauren Shaman. His name's Thangor. He's a That's what I'm talking about. He's an elemental, so he's really into doing a lot of damage for as much as he can. I have an orc hunter, I have a troll rogue, and I have an undead mage, so I like doing a lot of damage.
I got tomorrow off of work, and I got today off of work to level all day, and tomorrow off of work. So tonight I'm gonna buy it, go set it up, and play all night long.
I gotta work at 7. I'll probably play right up until I get to work.
All night until school in the morning.
Yeah, I got the laptop in the car so I can load it on the way, in all honesty.
I don't know. I'm just gonna install it and just try to get, like, maybe up to level, like, 62 or something. It's probably gonna take a while, but, you know, however long it takes.
I think people are afraid of how powerful we are, because if we were to unite, which we already have, and begin to take over the world, I think 8 million people now, I think that the world would be in for a big surprise when 900 shaman come running over that mountainside, you know what I'm saying?
There's a collector's edition on the back. Yeah, you got yourself the DVD collection with behind-the-scenes stuff. You get the soundtrack from the game. You get the art of the game. You get a collector's edition card pack. And the reason why I came, the Netherwelt pet. Free map with every purchase.
Tell me about your most epic quest or battle to date.
I was raiding this girl's molten core.
I've heard some of the women I know that play complaining that the new female character models promote an unrealistic standard of beauty. There's no reason for, you know, a supernatural adventure to have birthing hips. It's just no reason.
I'm gonna do an impression of my paladin, and one thing that I love about the paladin is that is healing. It's I get to heal my friend. They're like, they just do this with like holy, I don't know, bubbles, and then boom.
I've been waiting long enough. 10.5-hour shift of work, 6-hour wait for the game. It's a good day.
I just bought one, but I bought everything else. The binder, the book. No, I'm going to go home, install it, take a shower, log on, try to claim some names.
I'm very psyched.
What would get you to stop playing?
I don't want to stop. Why would I want to stop?
I'm going to the dark portal! Woo! I'm almost level 61!
Very excited to play this. I've been waiting. Waiting.
How long are you going to play for?
All night. All week maybe. All week.
You don't have to work tomorrow?
Work. There's no such thing as work with WoW.
There it is. All right, greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Dark Portal, your weekly TBC waiting room. My name is Kargoz, and today I am super excited to present for your viewing pleasure this comprehensive tanking deep dive, and I am joined today by my co-host, Trix. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, brother. How you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic, and we have two very special guests. These guys, we are so lucky to have them here tonight, guys. Let me tell you, if you're excited for TBC, you are in the right place. Life is Moot, thank you so much for the host, by the way, for the 32 right there, man. Really appreciate it. We have TSW and Dr. Kael. Guys, how are you tonight? Thank you so much for joining us.
Really good.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
It is going to be a very educational night, a fun night. Hope everyone is doing well. Welcome on in. So, without further ado, episode 3, The Dark Portal, we're going to jump right into it, and we're going to kick it off with some cringy icebreakers in true Kargoz fashion. Actually, before that, we'll take a look at the agenda, though. So here's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to just outline the goal of the episode. The goal of the episode is to prepare you to tank in TBC, or just to get a better understanding of tanking in TBC. Again, we'll see how far we get with it, But then we're going to introduce the guests, and then we'll get into the meat and potatoes, talk about tanking differences in Classic, about specs. We're going to spotlight each class, warriors, paladins, druids, all that good stuff. So we will get into the intros now. TSW, brother, I did not prepare him for this, guys. I'm going to put you on the spot, my man. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, man. History with the game. Go.
Well, I saw the South Park episode and thought I need some of that in my life. So I headed up to the Pirate Bay to see what the game's about. It wasn't easy, so I went to eBay and bought a legit copy of the game, and that was about patch 2.3 in the Burning Crusade. So that's kind of like my vanilla. My starting expansion was TBC, and I suppose you see a lot of people who only play Classic, and I'm pretty much an only play TBC guy in that sense. And yeah, I played tank from TBC until Mists of Pandaria, and then I cut away to private servers, and then played Classic like everybody else, and then quit before AQ to play more TBC. Been playing private server TBC for about 7 years.
Wow.
So I must like it. Right,
you must like it. Yeah. So that is so cool. I actually haven't come across too many people like yourself who really are only play TBC like that. So man, we are so lucky. Okay, favorite class and why?
Warrior. It's basically the only thing I play. It's always my main, almost every server. Well, basically every server I think is my main, unless it's a meme server.
Do you enjoy? What attracts you to the warrior class? In terms of, is there anything class fantasy wise, or do you prefer physical damage?
Well, like you, Kargoz, WoW was my first MMO, first online game, and I originally played Hunter because it was the only class that was heavily spoken about in the South Park episode, and I had no idea what I was doing. Mana, what's this? Pet, what's this? Like I even just remade a Hunter because I got stuck somewhere and didn't know what I was doing, and then someone recommended Warrior, and there was none of this blue mana stuff, so I'm like, okay, this looks way simpler just because it's more you're just hitting stuff, and it's more realistic in that sense, and it just went on from there. And then once I got through the Dark Portal, people wanted tanks for dungeons, and I just got pushed into that role. I'm like, can I tank a dungeon? And they say, do you have a shield? Yeah. And then I just get pushed in. Go respec, and we'll summon you back. Okay.
Gotcha. What about favorite race and favorite zone?
Race, big boy Tauren probably if I had to pick one on the spot. But humans also great if you're going Alliance. My favorite zone. Blade's Edge isn't bad, just because loads of people hate it, and it's not that bad.
Blade's Edge, edgy. I like that.
Edge.
I like Blade's Edge as well. My boy Rexar's over there. Okay, favorite snack? Yeah, favorite snack. I don't know. Like I said, they're cringe, but we got to get the
well, while playing the game, like just whatever's big calories, so I don't need to eat it again.
All right. And last cringy question, I promise. If you could visit any year in human history, what year would you visit? And why?
I mean, if you want a cringy answer, day of Classic launch. Or Classic Alpha.
Classic Alpha, all right.
You buy a key from eBay and then you're in. Or, something like that.
Well, thank you so much for your answers, my man. All right, Dr. Kael. Are you ready for the same questions, my man?
I am ready.
All right, history with the game, my man. Go for it.
Came fresh out of EverQuest into WoW. Little into Classic, like actual vanilla. Really took off in TBC, where at that point I was in high school. I was double rating. I went right to the deep end. Played a hunter named Drakes. Played a restoger named Rejuvie on shout out to Undermine, which is a good server. And then I played on Zul'jin with my hunter. From that point, TBC was it's kind of where I grew up in it, so of course I'm attached to it. And then on that fact, I was in a semi-hardcore guild and then a very hardcore guild. My druid, my healer aspect was in the semi, my hunter was in the hardcore guild. Steady Shot Macro had come out. I thought I was hot shit with, hitting that one button back in the day. Went through all the content on them and wasn't ever fulfilled. Watched a few YouTube videos of Hobbs, Prop Paladin, and then I swapped mains for TBC. I had Sunwell was out when I made that swap, so other than that, then I played all the way through. Played a lot of private servers. Some of the early ones for TBC I didn't play on, but in the last 5 years I don't think I've missed one. So, and then beyond that, a retail guild, Get Carried, kind of ran all the way out to Warlords of Draenor.
Gotcha, man. Thanks for sharing that. Favorite class and race? Kind of alluded to it, but what would you say to that?
I'll go Blood Elf, Prot Paladin. Gotta be a Paladin.
You're playing Draenei Prot Paladin though right now, huh?
I am. I have kind of forced down the alliance tree. I'm kind of like the support role, so I try to bring the 1% hit to melee, even though I'm rarely in the melee group. But when I am, I'm still playing that support role, given the 1% hit.
Gotcha. Favorite zone and favorite snack?
Favorite zone is Shadowmoon Valley. Spend a lot of time out there farming Blood Elves. There's multiple farm spots in Shadowmoon Valley, so I spend a lot of my time out there when I'm farming early on in a TBC server, trying to get every caster in my guild a Scryer's Blood Gem by farming 2 million Arcane Tomes. Favorite snack would be apples and caramel.
Ooh, that's an interesting one.
It's a big boy snack. Little healthier route, but trust me, I heap on the caramel.
Yeah, no, that sounds pretty good. Favorite version of WoW is, I'm assuming, TBC, but so I don't want to speak for you. And then also the last cringy question, if you could visit any year in human history, what year would you visit and why?
TBC by a landslide. Wrath would be second, then after that I really don't care. I'm a Queen fan, so I'd want to go back to that Live Aid Queen concert in front of hundreds of thousands of people. I think it'd be cool.
That's what's up, man. What a good answer. Crix, how you doing, brother? Just to catch up with you, man. Do you want to say anything before we get started here? It's always good.
I'm ready to get started, man. I'm just glad these guys came. Big, both raid leaders. I'm in their guild on different servers. I just like them, man. I'm excited.
Can you shill for them on behalf? These guys are pretty humble, Crix. You have to say they didn't even talk about any of their achievements on the private servers or anything like that. Can you shill on their behalf?
Every single video that I ever do, these guys get about 100 questions from me. So,
yeah. These guys are some of the biggest brains, sharpest minds when it comes to TBC, guys. We are truly lucky. So if you have any questions, tweet them at our, Twitter right there, at Dark Portal Show. I thought we didn't get any tweets last time. It turned out we did. I'm just a Twitter idiot, so I didn't know how to navigate the site. But tweet at us, and I'll do my best and try to get the questions together, and we'll see if they can be so kind as to oblige us. All right, I'm caffeinated, dude. 2 pumpkin spices deep. Let's see what we got here. Tanking differences in TBC versus Classic. TSW, maybe we can start with you, man. Does anything come immediately to mind?
I mean, the question that always comes to mind, based on any kind of question about TBC, is just how difficult we expect it to be compared to Classic. And I think most people think, and the best evidence we have to go off is what we have at the moment from Blizzard, and that's Classic WoW, and it being fairly easy. And then assuming that stays true into TBC, it's going to be, it's going to not matter too much unless you're in one of these min-max guilds, in which case, things matter a heck of a lot. So the changes is, Shield is probably going to be the biggest noticeable difference that everyone's going to see. And then probably favouring casters instead of melee. So instead of being a whole blue squad running into a raid, you'll see a lot more purple and green from hunters as well, I suppose.
Yeah, we'll get into the reason why. So just to drive the point home here, you said shield. In Classic, some of you that are raiding right now, everybody's Fury, Defiance, dual wield, tanking, super aggressive, super zug-zug, 30-second fights, all that. You say that there's a shield, and a lot of people don't understand that. From your perspective, why is there a switch to shield in TBC?
Well, I think a lot of people in Classic, first of all, just think I'm tanking, so therefore I need to dual wield because that's the meta. I think a lot of people don't understand that the threat you get from dual wielding isn't that big. The threat you get is mostly from your attack power and bloodthirst. So you're going to be able... So, for example, if you're ever getting hit really hard in Classic WoW, you need to put a shield on or else you're going to die, or else you're not doing your job properly. Last stand, shield, get some shield blocks in there, and you're okay. But if you ever, are in a situation where you've got a bit of a threat lead and you just stood there and you can just comfortably tank with your shield on, and the DPS aren't necessarily chasing you unless you're in a speedrun scenario, in which case you put everything out as you can, and if you die, it's not your fault, because in that scenario you should never die because of you dual wielding. But generally speaking, you're not... The shield is more valuable generally, but when you are in these niche scenarios, such as speedrunning, then it's shield off. But I think a lot of people don't
even in a
value
TBC
the
environment.
shield.
You think you could go no shield in a speedrunning environment in TBC?
It depends all on how hard you're getting hit. If it is physically possible to be healed, you'll see a dual wield meta. But if it all comes down to, is it more trouble than it's worth? And to begin with, you'll definitely be using a shield. And to come on to jump ahead a few steps, Warrior's really good in being the cutting edge of tanking when things are hitting hardest, when content is most challenging, when you're the least geared. Warrior shines. And obviously when you're struggling to maybe even survive throughout the encounter, or you're wanting to cut healers on the tank to bring more damage, the Warrior really shines, and using a shield there also helps a lot with not taking damage.
Is it mainly the cooldowns though? You're actually saying, so when gear is more of an issue, Warriors shine? Is that what I'm taking away from that?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Is it the cooldowns, like shield wall and all that, or is it?
Yeah, I was watching your other podcast, and cooldowns are a big thing, but cooldowns are generally for specific mechanics or enrage timers. So they kind of have their place, or their oh my god, I'm about to die buttons. Okay, so they're kind of what your cooldowns are used for, or just the RNG of the healer died, or the healer got CC'd, or something bad happened, and then you need to I need to prepare. But generally speaking, your health is fairly predictable, and the tanking scenario of you taking damage and tanking the boss is somewhat predictable, and you should know what the mechanics are ahead of time, or at least you'll be learning as you progress and you'll know what they are going forward. So I don't think it's solely because of the cooldowns. The cooldowns are very useful, and they help the spiky nature of tanking. They help flatline that a bit. Yeah, smooth it out, exactly.
Gotcha. All right, Dr. Kael, does anything come to mind for you? Is tanking in TBC versus Classic? Is it harder? Is it easier? Is it more gear dependent? Is it anything?
Yeah, so I don't. I'm really curious. So kind of to go off what he was saying with, is dual wielding going to be possible? And of course, if you can be healed through it, then sure, you might see it. Whereas I'm more on the aspect end of seeing like a crazy spell power paladin tank, if it is going to be you don't have to wait on rage or something where you can stack group some MDs. Tanking in TBC versus Classic, currently Classic's kind of looks fairly easy in general. I don't have experience personally with tanking in TBC Classic, or not Classic, but Vanilla Classic. I think I want to say Vanilla looks easier in general, but you do get more options in TBC, whereas some classes are.
But you always hear that
Paladins
TBC maybe has more mechanics in the raids and stuff, and there's more kind of sophistication to the encounters and stuff like that. And the fights are also a bit more drawn out, I'd say. What would you say the average fight is on in TBC, Crix, from your perspective? Like if you roughly, like let's just try to visualize some of them.
I mean, none of them are really long. You mean like the boss fights? How long the boss fights are? There's only a couple extremely long boss fights, like KT or Illidan being really, really long.
Okay.
I don't know how long they're gonna. I would assume everything's gonna be. I would say half. I mean, if the difficulty is like that, it's gonna be halved. I would say, like the fights are gonna be much shorter.
Yeah, that's another big looming question, right? Do you guys, TSW or Dr. Kael, do you have an opinion on this? I mean, on the TBC private servers right now, some people say that it's literally 3 times as hard or 2.5 times as hard. I don't know where they get all this stuff from, but like, do you think it's true? Do you think it's overtuned right now on the TBC private servers? Do you think that'll matter if it's much easier? Will it shift the meta?
I would say like most privates, the one I'm currently playing on, you have boss HPs are 2 to 3 times higher, or like Tidewalker Murlocs are, instead of 12 total, there's 24, right? So I think again, your private server, strength training. That's kind of what I call it. I think TBC. I'm 90% sure TBC Classic is going to be a cakewalk in general, and I don't think it'll be crazy comp dependent beyond speedrunning. Boss fights currently on our server are anywhere from 3 to 6 minutes, give or take, in general, just depending on any 25-man fight.
See, that's pretty long.
Some are longer.
3 to 6 minutes, guys. That's
of course, you got fights like Kael'thas and Illidan that are 15-minute fights, just because of the phases and things like that. But
I don't think we're going to see any 60-second fights like we do in Classic. Even shorter than 60 seconds. Some of the fights are.
If you talk to the arcade mages, the fights are never short enough because they really depend on spending their mana bar so quickly.
Big true. Yeah, and we'll get into that. Okay, so let's get into this agenda here. Which specs can tank? This may seem very rudimentary to you, but just is it as simple as protection warrior, Feral Druid? Is there any play with the specializations, or dabbling into a bunch of them? Can Shamans tank in TBC? Some people might be wondering that, or anything like that. What's your perspective on this?
I've never seen a Shaman tank in TBC.
Nope, I don't think they can.
For good reason.
Gotcha. And it's there's no so is it like one cookie cutter tanking spec, you think, for each class, and that's about it?
No, I think there's multiple specs.
Okay.
If you're talking to the 3 specific tanks, there'll be different specs for different things.
Gotcha.
Would you say Feral is the most locked down in terms of spec?
Yep. Feral is pretty run of the mill all the way down in almost everything they do. Correct. I would agree with that. Whereas I know warriors have, it's like cleave, thunderclap, or reduced taunt cooldown, and paladins can go down to sank aura. They can drop their Avenger's shield. They can. There's the spec. I actually have a spec I was talking over with Tandor, where instead of Fury Prot Warriors, you have Ret Prot Paladins that go and get Vengeance all the way down in the Ret tree for 15% holy damage.
Oh wow!
You know, that deep into Ret versus like that's well past Sankor at that point.
There's a lot more play in the specs than there is in Classic, so that's something to look forward to. Your play style can immediately impact your talents and talent choices.
Very cool.
Yep.
And there's a bit of a finer tooth comb in terms of being able to gem just slightly differently and just position your character kind of more specifically.
A lot more personality, yeah. You can really optimize for a specific encounter if you wanted to. You might have someone whisper me saying, yo, your gems are mental, you've got really weird talents. And it's like, well, you know, for this boss that we're progressing tomorrow night, I really like it and I think it'll be good. You know, there will be scenarios like that, whereas with Fury tanking as a warrior, you're pretty much pushed into point for point, you know, just copy paste what everyone else is doing because there's not much competition, whereas going into TBC, for warrior at least, you can definitely argue all sorts and that's fun.
That is fun. Okay, well, one thing that the untrained eye, when it comes to TBC, like they hear this floating through the cosmos. They hear, you know, in TBC the bosses hit so hard, you have to get defense. Defense is the #1 stat in TBC for tanks, and that all the tanks gem defense and go defense. What would you say to that? Would you agree with that? Would you disagree with that? Like, what, you know, do you think do you really have to start? Is threat an issue in TBC? First of all, it's another one that gets thrown out there, right? These are just those kind of softballs that get thrown out there and people don't know exactly what to think.
So, defense rating, yeah, there's caps, right? So you can hit the cap and then you can do whatever you want. Defense rating in general is never a bad stat. Like, you could gem pure defense rating. It's pure avoidance. You know, and for heroics, defense rating cap is lower, and of course, resilience can come into play for being, you know, uncrittable. But I don't see people being underneath it. Being underneath defense cap is just leaving a window open to be crit, which most likely should one-shot you.
Really?
Generally.
Okay. So is that your first order of operations as a tank? You're trying to square away your defense?
Yeah, like early on a server. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's 485 for heroics and 490 for rating. Something like that.
Yeah, it goes. It 490 for level 73 mobs, and then it's 5 less every level lower.
5 less for every level lower. That's a nice little rule of thumb.
Yeah.
Okay. Another thing that I wanted to throw out there too is, and Crix too, man. Like your 2 cents on this would be good. Is what's your perspective on dungeons and heroic dungeons? Are they as challenging as people think? Like, are heroics do you have to be scared as a heroic? Like, can you walk in with green gear and do a heroic as a tank, or does it actually require a bit of premeditation there?
Well, you're pretty much going to get some blue gear anyway, because you have to farm normals to get to heroics, right? To get the key to be able to do heroics, so have a little bit of gear anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know how hard it is to tank heroics. I made a paladin tank like 6 months ago, and all I did was normals. I never got to do heroics, but it was fun. I personally only look for pop pallies when I do dungeons, like the rep brain.
Sounds like a warlock.
Yeah, exactly.
100%. Kind of what he said. In order to even get into a heroic, by that time to get revered, you're gonna have a good amount of gear.
Okay.
No matter what tank you are. Bear druids early on are probably the easiest to get raid ready because you craft 3 items and they're borderline almost there. Their talents are really nice when it comes to being not crit. So they're, you know, I think they get 6%. So one of their talents gives them 6% reduced chance.
Yeah. Gotcha. I mean, I rolled a druid on Endless and started to tank some heroics, and dude, I was shocked. They were hard as fuck, man. Like I wiped a group on heroic Arcatraz, and I felt so bad, dude. They're freaky. They got people yelling at me. I was taken aback at the difficulty heroics. It didn't seem like something you could just walk in there and cleave down like in the dungeons in Classic. Yeah, what's your take on dungeons in TBC TSW?
Well, when Blizzard announced Heroics, they kind of said it's like supplementary raid content for 5-mans. So if you've never done a heroic before or you've not played them much, you can kind of think of them as like 5-man raids, but you're maybe more familiar with them because you've maybe done them on normal mode. So in that sense, you can manage your expectations for how hard they could be. But having said that, there are particular heroics that are known as being easier than the other ones. So you can maybe do slave pens or steam vaults. I don't know. It kind of depends. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, as soon as I ding 70, like I'm heroic ready. As long as I can get in the dungeon as a warrior.
Okay.
But again, like with things like improved Blizzard from a mage or a hunter or just good CC, you can just kite everything in a heroic more or less, and not even have to tank it if you're in a top tier guild group. But for bosses, you will need to actually tank them. And as long as you've got really good communication and good players, you can just destroy the boss as quickly as you can, whilst just crossing your fingers you don't get crit if you do have a little bit of a chance to get crit, and just really pop off your cooldowns. Like you were saying before, that's when warrior would be good, if on the last boss you really do benefit from the shield wall. But yeah, it's only seconds and it's one attempt and it's 30-minute cooldown, so it's not as if it's
ready every attempt.
Usable all the time. It's just one big hurrah, if you like, and then just last stand, which is a bit more.
So Dr. Kael, you mentioned resilience. I never really heard of that in the context of tanking, and I guess this is a question for all of you. Like, fresh server, you're interested in tanking. Like, what goes through your mind as the tank in terms of squaring yourself away? It seemed like you're both on the page with defense. What is your mindset like going into a fresh server, trying to get yourself ready for stuff?
So kind of like what he said, and so like I play prop paladin, right? My ideal group is an improved Blizzard mage and AoE. Give me 2 warlocks, give me an Ellie shaman and a warlock, because the Ellie shaman will be there to help pipe a boss with lust. For gearing, you're just trying to Netherstorm will give you enough tank greens, like plate with spell power, okay? And okay stam, and yes, you can either craft or you can pick up. There's again some quest items that have defense rating on them. Dungeon quest items are the first thing I usually shoot for. Sethical's has an item. Shadow Labs has bracers. There's I run into all the dungeon quests first with a group, but a prop paladin can turn the damage off on himself by running. Turn and run and let the Imp Blizzard do its job. Consecrates on the ground. Warriors have to be, they're thunderclapping. They have to stay in the fight to hold threat. But again, a good mage can kite, can literally kite the mobs. The warrior can just play goalie and taunt things. Prop paladin gets to taunt 3 mobs at once. Can bop one of the other casters, like. So of course on the AoE pulls and AoE, as you start to tank, prop paladins, they're a little easier.
So you mentioned as a prop pally, your ideal dungeon group would be a frost mage. You said Ellie shaman as well, or a wrestler shaman? Yeah,
an Ellie shaman's there for lust, spell power totems, buffing the warlock and the mage. That's really what he's doing. Gotcha. They're good for interrupts. They're chain lightning to proc the seeds of corruption.
How would you round out that group too? Would you have a warlock in there or something too, or?
Yep, mage, warlock, Ellie shaman, any type of healer, doesn't really matter, and a prop pally.
Prop pally.
Healer can be anything.
Any healer.
Gotcha. It vary a lot of where you're going to. If you're doing like a rep grind, I'd rather have a mage, double warlock, wrestler shaman, prop pally. So you still get blessed with the healer.
The more AoE you got, the better.
Yeah, but there's some things like you said, Arcatraz, there's not really too much AoE there, so that comp like the Ellie shaman's so nice.
Yeah. What about you, TSW, man? Going through your mind, you're trying to get raid ready, you're trying to get your attunements, you're trying to scramble to find some gear on a fresh server. What's going through your mind as far as what you need to take care of?
Well, like Kael was saying, Netherstorm is really good. You can, as long as you're questing in Netherstorm and you perhaps have the trinket, I can't remember what it's called, from Hellfire.
Debiri? No. Yeah, you're talking about the defense rating max health.
Yes. As long as you have that trinket and Netherstorm, you're crit immune. So that's, once you're 68, you can just do Netherstorm, and then you can jump into Heroics and not be crit.
Wow,
so that's really good.
I feel like I missed something big here. There's a trinket you said from Netherstorm that makes you basically crit immune?
No, sorry. There's a good defense rating trinket from Hellfire Peninsula.
So for Alliance, it's called the Regal Protect or something, or Alliance Horde. It's like Blade Fist or something. That's the Horde has a different name.
Oh, Blade Fist Breath or whatever it's called. There's another one for defense. There's like the attack power one, and the other one is the defense one or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Gotcha.
Was it your video I saw where you were talking about important items to pick up as you're leveling that you shouldn't be vendoring?
Mm-hmm.
Was that a Kargoz video? Yeah, this is an exact example of that. If you're tanking, you need to get this trinket because the on use is 900 health. It's in low gear. It's better than I think the Blackwing Lair Warrior trinket. That's name is escaping me.
Oh wow, that's crazy. It's good to know. Yeah, that's an important one to drive home then. So make sure you pick this one up in Hellfire, ladies and gents.
Yeah, it scales worse as you go because it's only 900 health, but in low gear 900 health is more than the 15% health that the Blackwing Lair trinket gives.
Wow. And then sorry, what did you say about Netherstorm as well? Once you get that trinket from Hellfire,
so,
then
yeah, that trinket from Hellfire is nice. It's also good for leveling because it's almost like a little health stone. It's 900 HP on demand. So if you're going low, boom, I survived and I'm leveling quicker because of it. Don't just think, oh, I'm leveling as Fury or whatever. I'm going to go for the DPS stuff because I'm leveling as DPS. No, that trinket's really good at max level. It's 900 health on use, as well as a big chunk of defense rating. And it's that big chunk of defense rating plus doing the leveling route in Netherstorm that can guarantee you crit immunity. And you could walk into Kara as a warrior and get halfway in at least just with that gear if you have a competent raid.
Sorry, you said leveling route in Netherstorm though. I didn't quite understand that. Is there a piece of gear you pick up?
If you do the quest in Netherstorm, there's a load of defense rating gear, and that gets you crit immune.
The quest in Netherstorm.
Yeah, Netherstorm's the best zone for raid ready loot.
The goal, what I always tell people, is try to hit 70 before Netherstorm. Hit 70 and then immediately hit Netherstorm. I don't play a prop warrior, but I know there's like a Wind Traders band. It's a green ring. It's insane. It has high stam, defense rating, hit. It's like one of the most ideal rings for a green for a prop warrior that I'll see them use. Let's say the Heroic Mana Tombs ring doesn't drop for them. They'll use that green ring for quite a while.
This is high impact stuff. I mean, this is like really like awesome stuff, man. I'm getting chills thinking about it. So on a fresh server, you're a tank. What's going through your mind, guys? Just yoink this. Whoever's listening right now, this is like life hacking, right? You go get that defense rating trinket in Hellfire, and then you go through Netherstorm and you get a bunch of defense rating gear there. And between those, if you're rushing to get into Karazhan or something, between those two things, you'd be kind of raid ready almost.
And then I sent you in our little Discord chat, I have a list of all my current trinkets, and on the third from the right, you can see I still have my Hellfire trinket that he's talking about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of trinkets.
You can also watch Crix's upcoming warrior gearing video for some warrior advice. Yeah, Crix?
Oh yeah, hype. Can you guys hear me?
We can't hear you loud and clear. Yo, Freddie, thank you for the $50 donation. That's so kind of you, man. Thank you so much, Young Crazy, with the Prime as well. Okay, what else? Anything else come to mind? On the way up, stuff you might want to pick up while leveling, while we're on the topic, or maybe from the early dungeons, fresh server, everybody, the pressure's on.
I mean, the amount of gear. I mean, I'm assuming dungeon leveling is going to be very, very common. Beyond I'm a huge advocate of waiting to do quests at 70. If I can get to 70 without doing quests, great. If I can't, I'm still gonna do them. Because when you're at 70, right, you're gonna get more gold per quest. So this is where gold is king, by the way. It always is, always will be. So if you can do the quest at 70 in Netherstorm, I think it's about 3,000 gold, somewhere in there, start to end, if you save everything and budget right, somewhere in there. Don't quote me on that number, but it's a lot of gold.
Yeah, that's a good amount. Yeah.
So if you're always looking for the big brain plays, Kargoz, if we do get a fresh TBC experience.
Yeah.
A lot of the big brain TBC players level to 62, 63 in vanilla zones, and then ding 70 as early as they can, and then they're just doing the quests once they hit 70, having not quite half Outland left at 70, but as much as they can, so that they already have 2 UK gold once they've finished questing, and they can get there. If they help each other out, you can get epic mounts and start to gather like crazy.
Gotcha. So you're saying, just to clarify for people watching, and I think it works this way in the case in Classic too. Correct me if I'm wrong, but once you hit cap, Blizzard tries to like compensate you in some way because you can't get experience anymore, so they give you bonus gold.
It's about double. It's not. It's like 90 something %. It's almost double. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's a ton.
And you get a lot more gold. Like you can get like group quests. You'll get like 22 gold per quest.
Okay.
That adds up. As well as the reputation. If you're talking about quests and rewards, also think about reputation. There are, for example, like Scenario and Expedition quest chain in Blade's Edge that people don't typically do because it's awkward to get to, and they're less familiar with it. They like doing the cookie cutter quest chains that are easy and maybe have a good item for them here and there. You need to be early on in TBC. You need to be revered for the heroic keys. In later patches, you only need to get honored. If you do need to be revered, it really pays to dive deeper into some of the specific quest chains for that rep, because you're getting gold, you're getting leveling items, you're getting potentially raid items if you're still using them whilst raiding, and it's shaving time off you farming normal mode steambolts, normal mode Mechana or Botanica. These quest chains, some of them will give 1,000 or 2,000 rep per quest, and that's really, really efficient. I think the best min-maxers will have a route figured out for quest hubs that they want to complete, because that means they only need to do, let's say, 2 complete level 70 dungeons, and that will tip them over the threshold to either honored or maybe run 8 runs, and then they'll be revered, and they'll just bonk the last boss, and then they'll all get revered at the same time, all 5 of them, and they just Hearthstone, grab the heroic key, jump into heroic, and then they're progressing their TBC adventure.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean the Scenario and Expedition heroics too, like, because doing the Blade's Edge Mountain, they're one of your more easier heroics, and you got Quag's Eye, you got some of those big ticket items. There's a great tanking belt that drops off Quag as well.
Quagmire's Eye, is that what it is?
Yep, Quag's Eye is an amazing trinket for casters. And of course the Midnight Laggards for most DPS, physical DPS.
Gotcha.
The big quests that I recommend is the Alcatraz key, because that gives you so much Shatar rep, and that will get you into heroic Mechana, heroic Alcatraz, and heroic Botanica quickly.
You're saying
quest rewards as well.
Prioritize those set of dungeons. You're saying, is that as opposed to the Scenario dungeons?
There's the breaking into the Alcatraz quest chain is really good. It's really quick. It has you do all 3 of the dungeons, and they give you good, borderline great. Well, yeah. There's 2 quests that give blues. You've got some like decent expertise legs, and also a really good competing with the belt that Kael mentioned from heroic slave pens. So and lots of rep. Like, it gives you a belt for every spec basically that is good enough to raid with, and it gives you thousands of rep, and it just gets you. It's very efficient use of your time.
Gotcha. Man, there's so much to cover here. I'm struggling to keep some sense of it, because it's so much information. I guess just to double down on stats. You mentioned expertise, and I've talked about expertise, and we've talked about expertise on the past podcasts, and I think TSW and Kael, they know what it is. Is that at all a priority? So it's I'm just trying to get, is it defense most important? Is there some kind of expertise goal you're striving for as well? Are you worried about hit rating next after expertise? Just trying to get the ducks in a row as far as or maybe you don't need to make those choices. Maybe the gear you get just has all that, and you follow the list that is available online, and that
Yeah,
just all
so-
falls into place.
Defense cap followed by stamina, like to keep it very very simple to when you first start.
Okay.
Expertise, there's only a few options. There's some quest blue pants. There's a rep ring.
Stamina even over hit? Is hit not too big of a deal?
I would talk more with TSW on what he'd prioritize, hit or expertise early on. But as for a prod paladin, even a bear, like we're just stamp stacking beyond defense cap early on.
Gotcha.
Well, I'd say depending on how, if the crits matter, you want defense rating. If the crits aren't killing you, you don't need defense rating. You can just go for other stats. But I hope that crits do matter because that's gameplay and that's fun, right? Why have a mechanic like crits in PvE if they don't matter? That's, why is it there if it isn't impactful? So yeah, I hope that that TBC is hard enough so, mechanics matter, i.e. basic mechanics like getting hit by the mob, getting crit. But if on some servers where the heroic content isn't super challenging, like it's not really difficult, you can walk into a heroic with next to no gear and just hit shield block and you won't take much damage.
Good to know. Okay.
It just depends on how it's tuned. But in terms of stats, stamina and armor are great. It just, obviously you die when your health reaches 0. Armor reduces your physical damage taken, and stamina increases your health bar, if you like. It just goes longer and longer and longer. Obviously, it stays the same size physically on your UI.
What's your perspective on hit and avoidance pieces though? Is that not a decision you have to make really, or is it like stamina and armor just end up being better?
If you're dying, you need to fix that, and whether that be from mechanics and standing out of fire, whether that be your healer's not actually healing. Once the basics are covered and you're literally stood in front of the mob, you're doing your job, everyone else is doing their job, and you're still dying, that comes down to tuning and your gear sort of thing. So we don't have much influence on tuning in terms of Blizzard, and then on private servers, you have a community conversation about that potentially, but for Blizzard and in general, you don't control the tuning, so you can only control yourself. So you need to survive the encounter. Bottom line, that's the baseline, right? Mm-hmm. And once you survive, you can actually progress through the encounter, and once you are happy and you build up some sort of insurance stamina, some insurance defense stats, so that you can comfortably survive, that's when you start going for expertise. Expertise is better than hit rating just because it does more for tanking.
Yeah, so as I was talking to Tandor here, expertise pushes parry and dodge off the table, whereas hit only does miss. So expertise before soft cap is what he was mentioning, and it makes sense to me. And I mean, TSW just kind of said, he didn't go into reason why, but he still said roughly the same thing.
So what I'm taking from you guys is that defense cap and stamina, you build up that foundation of survivability, and these other stats like hit and expertise are actually almost secondary. Like there's stuff that you start thinking about as you get cushy.
Yeah, exactly. You can always tell the raid to stop damage. You can't always tell the boss to, can you hit me a bit less, please? That isn't a conversation that happens.
Is this something that a new tank would be worried about though? I might if I'm a tank and I'm like, oh my god, I'm stacking all this defense, I'm gemming defense and stamina and all this. Like, am I going to be able to do enough threat? Like, you think the threat would be fine?
As long as you can out-threat the healer.
Yeah, I was gonna say an inexperienced tank might do that, whereas a simple conversation, cue your mic, tell them, I want 5 seconds, I want 10 seconds, I want 5 misdirects, whatever your raid has. Do whatever's comfortable, for a tank. As you get more experienced, you'll be able to feel it out, assuming you watch a threat meter, and you can watch your threat per second go up over time as you get more gear, more expertise, more hits, just in general more gear.
Okay.
People seem to forget that DPS have a responsibility when it comes to threat as well. I know I was watching one of your recent podcasts where Quick was talking about, Warlock, and how someone was saying how basic it is. You just use Shadow Bolt, and but the skill cap really comes into riding that threat limit as well. It's not just you're just stood there using Shadow Bolt. You might have two Warlocks who are doing the exact same thing with the same gear, but if one of them is more confident in I can Shadow Bolt 2 or 3 more times without putting threat, and the other one's playing safer, the one who maybe does one more Shadow Bolt and pulls aggro and wipes the raid, well, he's the one who isn't getting loot that night, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You see it, it's gonna happen. It's gonna be comical to see all these threat issues when TBC comes out, to be honest.
So a funny instance that happened this week is hunters love to ride that threat meter, right? Because they want to postpone their feign death. We're doing the bear boss in ZA, and the bear boss charges the furthest target. But if he's riding, my ass in threat, the bear charges the hunter, but now because the hunter's in melee range, the threat changes because he's in melee range. The bear boss just turned and slapped him. Like, he pulled threat. He wasn't above me in threat until the bear got into melee range of him, and then by that time he is pulled threat. So you still have that threat issue where melee have to ride it tighter, range can be 30% above it, 120 or whatever it is.
Right. The difference in where you are standing relative to the target. So you're talking a lot about threat. Crix talks a lot about threat. I think a lot of people moving into TBC, this is another nugget softball that gets thrown out there. They go, "Oh, threat isn't a big deal in TBC. That's why you're gemming for defense and stuff. It's not a big deal." It seems like it's a big deal. You would think with misdirection, with Hunter's Feign Death, with Warlocks, with the they have their threat dump now, salvation on both sides, that threat wouldn't be as big of a deal. But it seems like it's still the type of thing where you maybe have to wait 5-10 seconds, similar to Classic, before the DPS can go.
Well, there's something that I would say Warlocks are heavy with threat more than most classes, right? Warlocks and Hunters, and they have something to dump it. It's the threat game is bad, but you can control it yourself. It's in my hands. If I pull threat, it's my fault. It sucks sometimes. You're riding an ass and you get a crit and you pull,
Yeah,
a lot of DPSs need to understand, particularly in like a heroic, if a group gets ninja pulled, damage is not always the answer, DPS. And it sounds simple, but a lot of people will just be like, and seed. No, you just kill yourself. But you'd be surprised how many people just, I see mobs, I seed. That's their chain of thought. And you want to be thinking, CCing, do I want to soulstone the healer? Do I think this is going to be a wipe? War stomps, fears, just throw out the CC, make sure you've got a hellstone, and just prep for the worst case scenario. Don't just blindly just get I hate it when when someone just kills themselves and you're 4-manning those 2 packs in a heroic for the next 5 minutes, and it's like, dude, you just whirlwinded immediately and just died with 4 mobs attacking you. Yeah. What did you expect was going to happen? They were body pulled. There's no threat on those mobs whatsoever. You were hitting whirlwind. Like, what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, the funny thing is in TBC the stakes aren't as high in terms of people aren't getting world buffs and stuff in TBC, right? So people are probably a little more willy-nilly with throwing away their life and stuff, because I think like some of the consumables seem like they might be a bit cheaper, and you don't have all these world buffs you're trying to protect. So I could see that.
There will be some buff stacking in TBC.
Oh yeah, okay.
There are some things that you can do. Yeah.
Okay. You hear what they're doing with the DMA? You heard the theory with the sunflowers, saying like you can have someone else clicking on you or some shit. People are testing it to see if it'll work in TBC.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Interesting. Maybe we can get into that in a minute. Okay. Let's move into some fun stuff. Let's talk about the actual tanks themselves. I think people are dying to hear about these. We're going to talk about Warrior, Paladin, Druid, and just talk about strengths, weaknesses, changes, armor level, avoidance, mitigation, anything that comes to mind. And like where they excel, where they struggle, so on and so forth. Let's start with the Warrior, man. TSW, this is your bread and butter, dude.
Yeah.
The Warrior tank. What immediately comes to mind in terms of where they excel, where they struggle? Even stuff like quality of life. Is it fun playing a Warrior? Whatever comes to mind, man.
I mean, I must think it's fun because I've played it for so long. So that's what more can I say, really? Like in terms of their specialization, like I say, they're good when the content's challenging because, like you say, there are cooldowns that you can use, very powerful cooldowns. When the content is tuned really, really high, your shield wall on Enrage can just give you that extra 10 seconds, or improved shield wall can give you 15 seconds of, say there's a 6-minute Enrage, you've just moved that to 6-minute 15 Enrage, and that can be, that's 15 seconds of damage, and that's a lot of damage that you're allowing your raid to do before you get bonked and then everyone else gets hit.
So is the flip side, if they're really good when you're struggling pushing content, that if you're speedrunning they would struggle comparatively to other tanks?
Yeah, the threat of Druid scales really well with gear, and Paladin also does really well, and Warriors, they have to sacrifice a lot of their tankiness in order to even get considered for, maintaining that threat of the other classes.
Yeah, I mean, I know this, like Paladins, it's like you put on spell power rings and a trinket and you're good to go because your tier gear gives spell power. Whereas Warrior, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, you're going to probably want to swap out one of your health trinkets for a hit trinket, your rings, and then basically you just throw expertise on where you can, and that's a difficult stat to find on gear. Not much of it is out there, so you're limited, and a lot of the same item slots have expertise, so you can't necessarily just throw it all on because it just conflicts with each other, such as like Edge Masters and the gloves from Black Temple.
You still using edgies in TBC?
I think people will use edgies.
Interesting.
Because it's got fat hit and fat expertise on it. It
Sure.
is just easy to put on, and I tank generally. Well, currently I'm progressing tier 5 on a private server, just on Kael Thas right now. But I'm not expertise soft cap. I'm not hit cap. If I'm doing a 5-man, it's easy just to slip on those Edge Masters, and you're that much closer to expertise cap and hit cap. It's just a one-item solution. And then there's another quest item from Terracar where you get a hit rating trinket on use for attack power, and you slip on edges, you slip on a hit rating trinket, and you're good to go.
Gotcha. What about changes from classic warrior tanking versus TBC? I think they get devastate and stuff in TBC, right?
Devastate's really cool. Like that helps you in terms of like off tanking, and just generally tanking. It's much more fun because Sundrama does nothing except for the threat that the Sundrama does, and it's the same for that rank of Sundrama whether you're naked or in full bis. Whereas Devastate scales because it's 50% of your weapon damage. So as you get more attack power, you're critting more, you're getting a bigger, fatter main hand weapon, your Devastate threat increases. So that's really good.
Okay. Anything else
as well
come
as
to mind as far
things
as
like intervene is really useful. I know Crix was talking about it on one of the previous podcasts for its PvP uses, but in raids it's really useful as well. If someone pulls threat, such as like Leotheris the Blind, you can just one button press and you're on the target who's got threat.
Could you explain what intervene is? Like how it works? Even myself, I'm a little bit confused.
Yeah. So you essentially charge the friendly target. That leaves charge cooldown unaffected, intercept cooldown unaffected. So you've got 2 more charging abilities for getting around. So it makes you a lot more mobile. It also puts a buff on the target. So the next attack, melee swing, on your intervened target. So let's say Crix pulls aggro. Come on, Crix, you should have soul shattered, man. But anyway, I'm going to intervene to you. Crix gets a buff. Let's say it's a Taunter Moon boss. The boss swings and is going to hit Crix for 10,000 damage. But because he's got the intervene buff, the first melee swing goes on me. So I get hit for 6,000 because I'm going to take less damage. That gives me a load more rage. Maybe I can do a couple more spells, and I've got the boss back on me. But generally that won't happen because I'll need to do more than just a few like a global to get threat off crits. But that's what it's there for. And also in PvP, it's nice to be able to take the next melee swing off the target.
So that's something that you make that determination on the fly, like your threat meter, it shows somebody is pulling ahead of you and you like can preemptively intervene them or something, just if you're expecting damage on them?
Yeah. I mean, I don't look at threat meter as like, I barely look at threat meter. I don't know if that's because people don't pull threat that often, but mainly my main focus is the target's target. So I'm targeting the boss is targeting me. Anytime the boss is not targeting me, it's cause for concern. A lot of the time, the boss will be, I'll use Crix as an example. He'll target Crix and do a boss mechanic on Crix. Yeah. But that's part of the encounter. The boss will randomly target somebody and do their mechanic. So he'll target Crix for like half a second and then go back on me. But anytime the boss targets somebody else and then turns and moves towards them, that's when I chase the boss, smashing my intervene keybind.
Gotcha.
Because I'm going to go straight to that person and I'm there to catch the boss.
It seems like a great tool, and you said it's unaffected, the intercept and charge cooldown?
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah.
Three gap closer things now?
Yes. They all have their, slight nuances. Intervene is only in defensive stance. Intercept is only in berserker stance, and charge is only in battle stance and out of combat. So they all have their uses, and particularly in arena, they are critical that you get them right, because there's nothing worse than being out of melee range and you're just there walking in your little, you've been hamstrung or piercing hell, or you've got an ice barrier debuff on you. You feel like an idiot when you could have intervened your healer and been close. But no, you intercepted, and now you've got intervene available, but you're just, you can't use it to get onto the enemy, and you just misplayed.
I see. Do you think warriors are, all things considered, the best pound for pound main tank?
For progression, yes, when the content is tuned appropriately, because their threat is good early game. Like when you're pre-raid, I don't think there's any competition in terms of tanking. But as the game, like it's almost like a staircase, I suppose. Like you get good, then it flatlines out, and the other tanks kind of nibble at your heels, and then the next tier of content comes out, and the warrior becomes marginally better because the content just got more difficult, and that's where warrior shines. And then as farm raids are introduced and you're just clearing things easily, that's when the other classes really start to shine.
I see. Interesting. That makes kind of perfect sense the way you're explaining it. Another thing that comes to mind, this could be a really dumb question, I might look really stupid here, but I heard this rumor going around, or I don't know what you would call it. Some people were saying that they removed crushing blows come Sunwell or something, and that, like druids become amazing in Sunwell. Does any of that ring a bell or anything?
No, that's all wrong.
Okay.
So off memory, I think bosses have a 20% chance to crush, and they have a 5.6% chance to crit. So that's where the defense rating comes in. So think of it as either like a pie, or I think of it as like a bar or something, like one end of my monitor to the other. Anyway, you've got like 20% slot is the crush, 5.6% is the crit, and then you've got everything else mushed in, or like a normal hit. Okay, and your defense rating of reducing your crit chance or crit to be hit by 5.6 eliminates that, and it'll just be a hit. So the hit chance just got bigger, the crit chance just got removed, and then you've got this 20% of a crush. Now, as long as you miss, the boss goes for that 20% chance and the crush is coming, it gets missed, you dodge it, you block it, or you parry it, you're not going to get hit. You didn't take the hit. Block is the important one, because block is easy to come by. It's the cheapest stat, and you'll get the most of it on gear.
Okay.
You'll get it's not uncommon to see 3% block chance on an item, whereas you're not going to see 3% dodge chance or parry chance on anything unless you maybe gem it to the hilt, and it's already an avoidance stat orientated item. But the fact that you can block will stop the crush. It'll just be a normal hit with the amount of your shield block value reducing that hit when you block.
And there's crushing all the way through Sunwell.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the warrior has shield block, which increases your chance to block by 75% chance. I should know that all the way, but it basically makes almost every attack going to be at least blocked, and block is the lowest on the hierarchy of avoidance. So you'll always take the dodge or the.
It's that smoothing of damage you talk about. It makes so much sense when you think about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Few seconds here.
But what you're saying about in a Sunwell is, I can see where people would come from that, because in Sunwell, they reduced or they increased the, there's a buff that lowers your chance to dodge by 20%.
Correct. Yep.
And also increases their chance to hit by 5%.
Fucking bears, man.
So what does that do? I hear that you say bears. Put all the pieces together for me. So there's some, I don't even understand. I've never really progressed through Sunwell or anything like that. There's a. What is this buff that does
for what bears at that point, right? Like when you're getting end game, bears can dodge almost every attack.
They can dodge almost every attack?
Yes.
Avoidance cap is the thing.
It's literally ridiculous.
That sounds OP. What? Okay.
On some
their agility gets so high, and they double dodge trinkets. They literally. I think our tank right now on Mother, like when Mother goes frenzy, Barry runs 94% dodge for, is it 10 seconds?
I've had private servers where we ran an avoidance capped bear on Mother Shiraz. Literally takes no damage.
So
there's videos of rogues tanking Mother because they, with Ghostly Strike, they literally dodge every attack.
That's kind of cool, man.
It's
okay. Okay, just to get back to the
next week, we're talking about rogue tanks.
You need a rogue here. There's a real tank for TBC.
With some warglaives, man.
Well, there are instances though, like there's fights where rogues can step in. Like if a tank dies on Mother, a rogue can step in front of her, pop evasion, and share the cleave. But because they're dodging, they're surviving. Or ROS has an enrage where then you have your tank step out and your rogue step in and pop evasion. There's a lot of different instances where you get to see the rogue tank, or if a tank goes down and a rogue's highest threat, you might get 20 seconds to DPS the boss while the rogue's dodging every attack.
I see.
They might die. They might get they might not dodging it one slapped, and then they're dead. But it's fun when you get to see it.
If you had to put together if you had to put together like a tier list, you've seen those tier list makers for single target threat and multi-target threat. I mean, are warriors the kings of single target threat? I mean, you hear that paladins are insane multi-target, doing trash, reflect damage, all this. Are paladins jelly of the Chad warrior single target threat? Where do the tanks lie with regard to that?
It kind of depends on. I personally feel it's depending. If it's just a warrior by himself in his own party and just a bear versus just a paladin, I think warrior wins.
In single target. Okay.
There is like tier 6 bonuses where I think warriors get shield slam damage from their 4-piece, bears get 15% from their 2-piece, paladins don't get jack shit, but we do get consequences.
Warrior's that good on threat. Maybe that's just me playing it wrong, but no, I think it depends. How you're gearing. For progression, expertise and hit rating aren't much of a concern because me surviving is the bigger concern.
Correct.
If for a well balanced build, let's think. I think the warrior would still struggle to catch up. Again, it depends. Like you want to be. The thing about warriors and druids are you want to be hit enough that you have borderline infinite rage, so you're never constrained by your rage. So you can heroic strike every single swing of your melee weapon. You can maul as a bear every 2 seconds, which is your auto hit.
Mm-hmm.
So you just constantly have this, regardless of whatever else goes on, you're heroic striking every single melee swing, and that is a large amount of threat. And then you want to obviously be doing everything else on top of it, because again, just in case people don't know, heroic strike is purely based on your melee swing. So if you've got a really quick main hand, you can use heroic strike every single time you swing. And if you've got a really slow weapon, you're going to be heroic striking much less often.
So you get more threat from the faster because it's the 1.3x.
It's off the global cooldown, so it's just you just spam heroic strike whilst doing your normal rotation.
And you're doing 1.3x threat with the heroic strike, right? So it's like just better to have a faster weapon, it seems.
To an extent, because of how Devastate works, it pushes you in the opposite direction, where having a slow weapon isn't rubbish, because if you don't have infinite rage and you can't just heroic strike, if you had infinite rage, literally infinite rage, you could just hold down heroic strike and the boss would die if you had no swing timer, because you'll just do like 100 heroic strikes and the boss would die.
Yeah, let's assume hypothetically full bis, like everything TBC has to offer. Who's the king of single target threat? You thinking warrior, druid?
Feral, yeah.
Really? Both of them consensus. Feral. Why?
If you're staying alive, you can just basically be a full cat. You basically wear full cat gear and then just go into barefoot.
I have seen private server wise anywhere from 12 to 1600 DPS bears.
That's insane.
Which is a lot. It's a lot of damage.
It's a good amount.
So
me in full solid power gear, like currently, and I'm BT best in slot, like I can do 800, 900 maybe.
You sometimes can't tell it's a bear. It's a tank on the damage meter as a bear. It just looks like a melee. It looks like a DPSer.
Wait, so you're saying they do great damage too? I guess that's a function of the threat.
And they have good gear, yeah. They are very gear dependent. To start playing a druid, you're going to get beaten about because druids rely so much on their armor for reduced damage, because they want to get armor cap really quickly, which is 75% reduced damage. So they're taking a quarter of, say the boss hits 10k, they're going to be hit for 2.5k. So it's a big damage reduction for them, and it's kind of their biggest defense is their health pool and their armor. Similar to what I was saying earlier, it's anything to stop your health from going to zero.
Because they can't block and stuff, right? Like warriors.
They can't block, they can't parry.
Taking the hit or dodging the hit, or it getting missed. But it's very black and white in that case. But once you are surviving the content, you can just ramp up your aggressive, threat abilities and essentially be more cat-like. And you essentially,
So once you get stuff on farm, it makes me feel like what you're saying, that maybe put a bear in the main tank. Once you get stuff under control and you're not progressing anymore. Maybe it's not that serious.
Yeah, if you're limited single target, end game, you would go for a feral. However, if every point of health you have extra is wasted as long as you're not dying. Every point of threat that you're doing over. Crick's pulling aggro as a warlock is wasted. That could be, extra defensive stats to staying alive, or extra damage stats, or whatever. So if a warrior can hold threat, and you're not wanting to bring loads of melee to a TBC raid, the warrior is still providing sunder armors. It's still providing improved demoralizing shout.
But you'd have an arms warrior doing that, right? Anyway, for the.
It depends on your comp.
Yeah.
I have to take a lot of those debuffs, and it sacrifices my threat. But it comes down to, can you get away with it? Like, is the arms warrior prepared to take a big hit? Arms warriors can thunderclap as well, and a warrior doesn't even need to do that if you're tanking. But it all depends on, the play style. If you can get away with it, it's the good thing about TBC is it's all a big compromise. Unlike Classic, where things are more dialed down and people know what they're doing, and the meta game is very well known. With TBC, it's not as many people have played TBC because it's a lot harder to get a TBC private server going. So it's only in the last couple of years where we've had truly
decent ones,
S tier scripting. Yeah. And we've had B tier and borderline A tier, let's say, but we've had Nostalvius, we've had other waves of really good, I would say, S tier scripted vanilla servers. So a lot of time and devotion and love has been put into those projects, whereas with TBC it's taken the back burner.
I see. So if Druid's in the top slot, full BIS single target, who's in the second place? Don't tell me it's Paladin over Warrior.
I think I'd say it's Paladin, but Kael said
it's Paladin.
Paladin single target threat more than Warrior. I gotta hear this.
Oh, and so when you're thinking endgame, right? Here's one thing to consider, and why would I go Paladin? Everything's a demon. Everything is a damn demon or it's undead. And Exorcism on cooldown is dumb threat.
Oh.
So remember, if it's undead or demon, Paladins now get another ability in their kit where they can... I'm not going to ever cast Holy Wrath unless it's just too much mana. But Exorcism on cooldown, absolutely.
Interesting. Wow, this is so interesting, man. I'm sorry, Chris.
Imagine Mark of the Champion on our Power Pally from Classic. That trinket, 85 spell power trinket against demons or undead.
Yeah, that's the 85 spell power is you got to go into Nax or whatever to get the really good version of it.
Man, that is.
It just comes down to scaling. Warriors don't scale that well with amazing gear. They're made to tank. As Blizzard sees it, tanking. They're not made to do all this metagame min-maxing stuff. So you are very limited by the class.
This is the opposite.
And you're not gonna see a prop paladin currently on private servers, other than sharing a cleave on Mother or taking hatefuls on Supremus. Of course, I'm not there to main tank regardless. I'm there just to AOE tank or pick up ads.
This meta seems so different from Classic. You're saying Druids are actually gear dependent because they need all that armor. When in Classic they're the independent gear, class. You're saying Warriors don't scale that well. In Classic, it's the class that scales the best. When you get all this fat loot.
Yeah, I'd say Feral is the most gear dependent because they rely so much on taking the hit consistently. I'd say Paladins are next because they need to build up that baseline and get uncrushable, which is more difficult for them. And then the Warriors just there chilling, just popping shield block on cooldown and just naked tanking, more or less.
Yeah, because being uncrushable is why heroics are kind of everybody loves a prop paladin, right? But the second we get to a boss and a heroic early on, we get spanked. We get spanked bad. If we're not had our avoidance cap to be uncrushable, we're gonna get rocked. There's trinkets that give a bunch of shield block rating. There's a Librum that gives shield block rating, and of course, I'd go into this when we get to a paladin section of it, but Bears literally craft a leatherworking set, and if the second they can get 4-piece tier 4, their armor capped with a priest buff. That's literally it. You run them down the pipe on Kara, you give them the first shoulders in High King Mulgore, and if they can get the legs or chest off make Therodon, they're there. Their 4-piece for tanking gives them a bunch of armor.
That's so interesting, man. It's such a different beast, this TBC stuff.
It's a breath of fresh air, I think. Yeah. It's exciting if you haven't played it before.
The cool thing, the way these guys are talking about the classes, chat, I don't know if this is exciting for you guys, but they're I kind of thought that Paladin would be good for trash and multi-target, but they were still kind of a meme when it comes to single target and really tanking and doing all this. The way you guys talk about Pally, it makes it seem actually like it's a legit tank. You can push with a Pally and stuff. I mean, I could be wrong here, but
I mean, it's only at the very, very end game, but again, a lot of people will still bring a Warrior because Warrior has that classic mentality of main tank everything, and for progression, it will almost 9 times out of 10 be Warrior main tank everything, maybe with a Druid sprinkled in there.
I see.
And Warriors, particularly if they're guild leaders or raid leaders, they'll be holding on to that Warrior position for as long as they can. Whereas ideally, what they should be doing is maybe transitioning onto a Feral Druid to scale better at farming content.
Do you use a Warblade as a... Sorry, go ahead, Graves.
Do you think a prop paladin you can main tank as a prop paladin?
Yeah, you can do anything as any of the tanks,
even on fresh when you're progressing.
Except shaman tanks.
Even if you're on fresh progressing, you could clear out the first raids as a.
It's gonna be brutal.
Main tank.
I mean, yeah, it's gonna it's very brutal, but you could, in the same sense that, I mean, you could progress with a paladin on classic, but it's way more forgiving than that. It's if a paladin, I don't know, like.
So, like, for example, like. I'm trying to think like the first raid, right? If a paladin loses threat on Gruul, right, and the off tank, pulls ahead and he starts tanking Gruul, the second the paladin goes his gas is out. The threat just drops to 0. He's auto attacking with nothing. Even standing in cave-ins, you're not going to get healed enough to gain enough mana to get back.
You're saying when you go Yeah.
Yeah,
what if
you're literally just
innervate,
you're standing there like, just great. I've got a seal up and that's about it.
Why did I leave my dark runes in the bank?
Oh yeah, dude, dark runes. I eat them like Skittles, man.
Yeah.
Chug
At least you
them.
can farm them well. That's really good synergy for pallet tanking.
Well, okay, let's go back to Warrior here. So multi-target threat. This is no, it's all good. I love this. Like I'm enjoying every second of this, man. This is I hope people in the chat are
we can kind of go off on tanks, dude. As you can see, we can get off subject so quick.
I kind of want to play Prod Valley and TBC now, thinking about it. But anyway,
check back in a year, and I promise you, he's gonna be a paladin.
You think so? All right, but so I actually had a 70 Warrior back in the day during real TBC, and I remember trying to tank for my buddies. And I was like dog shit at tanking these rogues because I actually found it really hard to do like multi-target, threat back in the day. Do warriors struggle with multi-target threat? Like just in dungeons, are you doing heroics and stuff? Does it kind of suck, or is it fine?
In dungeons, in heroics, you can get away with it without it being too much of a problem because there aren't. If there were any more mobs than in a heroic, you would start to struggle. But generally speaking, if you run with a mage, that gets rid of one of them. Generally, like more often than not, there'll be some sort of hard CC in your party.
Yeah. What would you say is the weakest multi-target tank? I guess that's what I'm getting at. Maybe it's not.
Sorry?
The weakest multi-target tank, like AoE tank?
Like most things on this podcast, it depends. Early on, they're very good because, again, they just, out the box, being level 70, they're very strong. So they do very well. Whereas, again, Druid's weaker because they don't have a high dodge chance. A Druid cannot tank 3 or 4 mobs fresh at 70. It'll just get killed.
That's
Whereas
so
Warrior,
crazy, dude. That's insane. You always think Druid swipe, but I was getting rocked on Endless on my Druid tank. You're right.
For threat, Druids are good because of that, but they're just going to melt because they don't have, like, if they're dodging like 1 in 5 attacks, or 1 in 4 attacks, they're just going to melt against 4 targets. They're getting hit too consistently.
I see.
But for Warrior, like Thunderclap hits 4 mobs and stops there. So you're spamming Thunderclap more or less on cooldown in an AoE situation. So it's basically when you have more than 4 mobs, it becomes tricky for a Warrior because so you mark Skull and then you maybe have a cross for the secondary target. Your shield slams maybe going to Skull. Your revenges maybe going to cross if people are dotting it prematurely while Skull's still alive. So it's a lot. Think of it like spinning plates. You just have to make sure that everyone is being dealt with. You can just hit tab and devastate things, and just make sure everyone's got a devastate, and you can just glance over at your threat meter and make sure, okay, Skull, I've got a good lead on Skull. Okay, so I can probably not do anything on Skull for 5 seconds, and I'll still be tanking it.
So you don't feel insecure multi-target as a warrior. You feel like you can still handle anything thrown at you. You don't feel like outclassed on multi-target.
Yeah, if you're struggling with warrior tank, the simplest thing is just Thunderclap on cooldown is the quickest, simplest rule, just to say, just Thunderclap on cooldown, because that's your only, that's your most like AoE ability you have. It's just hit 4 targets. It does a bit of threat on them. It's nothing close to a consecrate in terms of threat, but it's all you have, so you have to use it.
I wonder if they buff Thunderclap though, because in Classic it feels like you don't really doesn't really do much, right, in terms of damage. But in TBC,
I don't know the ins and outs of Thunderclap.
It just kind of ranks up.
Yeah,
like a little more damage.
Yeah, it doesn't scale with anything.
Correct.
So I played a druid on Endless recently, and I experienced exactly what you were talking about, TSW. I was getting rocked, and maybe that's why I felt like the heroics were so hard. I felt like I was getting chunked, man. And swipe only hits. I think in vanilla, doesn't swipe hit like infinity targets or something? I'm not sure. Somebody in the chat will know, but
I don't think so. It should be 3 targets. Well, TBC it's 3 targets.
Yeah, in TBC it was definitely 3 targets. So I'm pulling like these big groups in these dungeons, and I'm trying to swipe them all, and it's not.
Oh, there's no
I was
way.
having to like
I
tab
can
swipe.
imagine I think it's only 3 in Classic. So you pulled like 20 mobs.
Yeah.
You swipe like 10 damage, 10 damage, 10 damage. That's it. And say you've got a 30% chance to dodge, and the mobs have whatever chance to miss. That's all you've got, and everything is just piling on you.
Yep. My solution was I think there's some kind of logic to swipe where it hits like the 3 closest targets, so you would kind of like tab to swipe around and do some like ghetto AoE that way. But yeah, no, it's really interesting, man. What about on a lighter note, fun and quality of life playing a Protection Warrior? Is it like, what about gold farming? Is it a pain in the ass? Do you do dog shit damage if you're soloing, questing dailies? Is it horrible?
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the reasons I went DPS in Classic is because to try and avoid all the respecs early on, because in Classic you can't, like, if you're a deep prop build, you can't do anything out in the real world. You're so hindered by your lack of damage abilities. And the same is true for TBC, but to a lesser degree, because again you have Devastate, which is 50% of your weapon damage. So as long as you've got a good main hand, you'll be doing some damage consistently. But it's still like all the other classes just get really, really good, and warriors get a little bit better if you're deep prop versus deep propped. But yeah, it can be a struggle. Like soloing anything, like questing. If you're doing any kind of appreciable amount of questing, you don't really want to be doing it solo as tank because it's just so slow.
Okay.
But in terms of fun, because you're mostly main tanking, and as long as you enjoy that and that responsibility, it's fun. And the gameplay is engaging because you're constantly pressing heroic strike, and as soon as you have your rage starts to drop, you just hold off on hitting heroic strike, because all of your other globals take precedent over your heroic strike. Heroic strike's your kind of like last thing that you want to be using, and as soon as you get hit hard, your health bar goes up, you start piling on the heroic strikes. So that alone is very reactive in how you play. And then you have crucial debuffs to keep on the target in terms of Demo Shout and Thunderclap. If these are missing and you die, I mean, 9 times out of 10 tanks will just be like, yo, healers, what's going on? But in reality, the boss is hitting you a hell of a lot harder because they've not got critical debuffs on.
I see.
And because like the cooldown usage as well is phenomenal. It's so satisfying when, let's say, one of your healers gets CC'd or dies, and you're waiting for them to be combat rezzed, or they can't be combat rezzed, and you're like Neo out the Matrix, like using your avoidance,
blocking, or what?
Like Morose's Lucky Pocket Watch, like okay, big brain. We're talking earlier about when like bosses enrage and you need to use Shield Wall to stay alive.
Yeah.
Morose's Lucky Pocket Watch is a trinket from Morose in Kara. It gives you 2% passive dodge, as well as 16.4% dodge on use for 8 seconds. If you're close to avoidance cap, let's say 16.4% off avoidance cap, you pop Morose's Lucky Pocket Watch, boom, you're there, and you're Neo from the Matrix, not taking any damage. So that's really, really fun. So it's not just Last Stand and Shield Wall that you have cooldowns to consider. You've also got Nightmare Seed, 2000 HP for, is it 15 seconds? You've got
no, the trinket.
It's actually 30 seconds.
Oh, 30 seconds, okay. I don't use them that often. Don't tell my guild. We only just got them on the server that I'm playing on. Armor potions as well are a big must. Like if you're tanking any kind of progression, you always want to have the max rank armor potion for 2,500 armor, just because it's consistent 2,500 armor, and armor is big for not taking damage.
Is that like increases armor by 30 seconds type of thing? Like that's an actual combat potion you would use in place of a health potion or something?
I'm sorry, which potion?
The nightmare scene?
Oh no, you're talking about, okay, my bad, I misunderstood. I thought you said armor potion, like, is that your go-to potion in combat?
Yeah, it's either armor potion or haste potion. Haste potion for threat. For 15 seconds, it's like 24% threat or 24% haste. So that just lets you auto attack if you need to generate rage, in addition to being hit to generate rage. But it also means if you do have the rage, you're throwing out those heroic strikes like nobody's business. And in conjunction with a lust, assuming you have the rage for it, you're flicking that boss with your little sword so quickly.
do you do pretty good damage as a tank, like compared to DPS, because you're getting hit?
No, I think it's one of the lowest. Like,
oh, okay.
It's one of the lowest.
Because in Classic, you actually are up there with the DPS. If you're like a Fury Defiance warrior, you're actually doing
it all comes down to scaling and the maths behind the game. Dual wielding Fury warriors in Classic, it's all about the bloodthirst and big attack power, big bloodthirst, big damage. Like attack power scales really nicely with a lot of what you're doing, whereas with a more conventional standard protection build, attack power isn't that big of a stat because you're using shield slam instead of your bloodthirst, and shield slam is nothing to do with your attack power.
Gotcha. Oh man, this is awesome, dude. I love this. Even just looking at the stream, that little art of the Torrent and the tier 6, dude, it looks so nice, dude. With the Bulwark, the T6. Do you get to use a Warglaive as a tank, as a prot warrior tank or not?
He's gone right now, but you'd just be a very mean prot warrior.
Oh, it's just considered a dick move?
Taking it from DPS? Yeah, it would be.
But is it the best weapon for you? Oh, I guess, I don't know.
So the main hand glaive is 2.8, and no, it's
too slow.
I mean, its damage is ridiculous. It's like swinging a two-hander as a one-hander.
Sounds good on the tank. I don't know. Yo, TSW, what do you think, TSW? Would you take could you take a Warglaive? Would it be BIS for you for a tank or no?
I've got a scuffed spreadsheet that I made myself for tanking, and sorting out like threat calculations and stuff, and it's good, but it's good. It might not be BIS, but it's very good. If you're doing 5-man content or you're rage starved, it is very good because it is so slow and it does buff your devastate damage immensely. But in terms of practical usage, and particularly in raid usage, you do get hit enough that your rage bar is high enough that you do then pull back away from Thunder Fury having a quicker weapon.
Gotcha. So it seems it's not like you shouldn't expect a Warglaive if you're a prot warrior. Like you would give it to the DPS, kind of sounds like, but it's still good.
Yeah. It's kind of awkward to use it as well. Like your heroic strikes are like they're so few and far between using a Warglaive.
I see.
It looks badass though.
It does. T6 with the Bulwark with the glaive, bro. I don't know if it gets any better than that, looks wise.
I got a question in TSW for you. If you had to choose like 3 things that you see tanks doing wrong, that not everybody knows, what would that be?
One thing a lot of private server players do is I see them walking around in full hit rating and expertise gear, and that's their go-to. Like they will, for progression raids, like from the day they hit 70, they'll be going for hit rating and expertise. And like I said before, for every point of threat that you're above anyone pulling threat, that's wasted threat in essence. And if you're dying in those encounters, then those threat stats should be defensive stats, stamina and armor, for example, right? But people just they hear, oh, I need 6% hit with a Moonkin to get hit cap. They think, okay, I've got my defense cap, I'm uncrittable. What other caps do I need to go for? What other caps are there? Well, armor cap you can't get as a warrior tank. although armor is still very important. I think a lot of people underestimate how good armor is. But yeah, they just go for their other caps. They're just ticking off caps, and it's not. I don't think that's that big. Like, people don't know why they're gemming or chasing certain stats. They just hear that these caps exist, and they just go, "Oh, I got defense cap, got hit cap, got expertise cap. I'm done." Because there's no limit really on how much armor you can get. There's no limit really on how much stamina you can get. If we were talking about, the HP cap or the armor cap is as much as you can get for progression raids, essentially. But because it's not a defined number, you can't chase it in the same way that you can chase 6% hit or 23% expertise.
Makes sense. Yeah, I like how elegantly, Dr. Kael put it. He was just like, defense and stem, that's it can be kind of as simple as I like that as a guiding light if I was ever going to make a tank in TBC, and
yeah,
you don't
I
have
don't
to worry
think,
about the caps too much.
Warriors would need to be like full T6 with the bulwark proc plus priest buff to be pretty close to 70%. So chasing an armor cap early on is very rough, but of course there are trinkets that, like, on use can give you armor, which is great. It's great mitigation.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. If I were going to be planning to tank in TBC, Zul'Gurub quest reward, I'd go for the armor 100% trinket.
Oh, the Zandalarian hero charm thingy for the armor?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. It's like 2,000 something armor. So it's another armor potion essentially. Although every hit you take reduces its armor. It's very, very powerful for certain encounters.
A lot of people probably already picked the wrong
Warriors.
one. Yeah, sorry.
The Warriors ZG helm enchant is very strong.
Yeah, that's this in TBC.
Yeah, it's really, really, it's really good.
Helm enchant this. Okay. So that's one of the mistakes. Great question, by the way, Crix. Love that question, man. Any other mistakes come to mind for or even both of you, just with tanking in general? You see people like textbook noob mistake or something like that.
I think more people should try tanking because it helps you DPS and understand how you can squeeze in more DPS. Like, if you're a warlock and your threat is a concern for you raiding, how better to understand threat than tank yourself?
Mm-hmm. Correct. I mean, I see noob tanks get angry. They get angry that the mobs aren't hitting them. They feel like they're chasing the whole time, because they're new to it. They're running for skull and X is running a different way, and it's just remain calm, learn the pulls, learn how use all the utilities you're given. If it's a 5-man, use everybody in your 5-man. If a healer's gonna heal you, they're gonna gravitate towards you. As I get more experienced, like, for example, if we ass pull a mob, I use resource threat. If I'm half mana and I see mobs running towards my healer and I hit a mana potion, they're gonna turn and run right at me as long as he's still not healing. Of course, that's a more in-depth thing, but it's just trying to get to understand very simple dungeons. Start there and then work. And of course, as you come across those situations where things go wrong, you'll become more comfortable with handling them. But getting mad and getting flustered early on in your tanking career it's not the answer.
Ninja pulls, I think I have the most fun. Yeah. Because you can really use your full tool set in terms of your class mechanics. Whereas in a raid, it's a very meticulous operation. You're tanking the boss. You're just going to be using your single target rotation. You're going to maintain your debuffs. You're going to maintain your shout, and that's it. You're just going to stand there and let your gear do the talking. You're going to let your healers support you, and your damage are going to destroy the boss. Whereas in a 5-man, someone ninja pulls, I'm using, commanding shout, I'm using challenging shout, I'm using intimidating shout, I'm using war stomp, I'm using mocking blow, I'm using taunt, I'm using concussion blow, I'm using taunt again because it's come off cooldown, I'm using intervene, I'm using intercept, and all of this toolkit comes out. Like, that's where warriors shine, but it's unfortunate that in the 5-man content early on where they do shine, it's for a very limited amount of time, because we all know that progression lasts like less than 1% of our total game time spent.
True. Yeah, that's a good point. You get to stance and do all the fun stuff, use all the shiny tools. Yeah. When the warrior's flowing and stance dancing, I'm level 1 right now. It's just such a fun class, man. You'll love to play it. All right, let's move on to Paladin, guys. Like, that was awesome. We spent a lot on one warrior. We can always come back and stuff too. I'm having the time of my life. I'm learning so much. Yo, Dr. Kael, man. Can you shield for the Paladins, man? I mean, you shield so well for it. This is what he said, guys. Last time I talked to him, he said, I like playing Paladin because I can carry the guild on my back. I was like, what? And it's because, well, you go into it, man. Sell us on Prot Pally and TBC, Dr. Kael.
So, kind of in general, what I mean when I say a Prot Paladin can carry a guild, you'll learn to find out they're the best gold farmers. Again, gold is king. Say it a million times.
Gold is king.
Gold is king. When it comes to speed running rep dungeons early on, a geared, experienced Prot Paladin, nothing will beat it. Where you can get your shattered halls full clear runs down to like 14 minutes, like 15 minutes full. You know, you'll get people revered, you'll get people exalted, you'll get the hunter's weapons. You can grab your main tank and drag him along with 2 other AoE. You know, you can do all the trials. There again, a lot of when I say trials, I'm talking about tier 5 attunements. Again, there are a few that are more, you know, warrior friendly, but the harder ones are Prot Pally friendly. In general, they're like the jack of all trades. Somebody rips threat, a warlock, you know, Crix is popping seeds, and I see 3 mobs heading to him. I don't have to panic. I have 2 oh shit buttons. I can taunt, which taunts 3 mobs. And I don't even have to move. I kind of sit there and laugh. Oh, Crix's next seed pops. Now he's got threat. My taunt's on cooldown. Go ahead and slap a blessing of protection on him. They come right back to me. I can buy him all the time in the world until he shatters. I don't have to full panic as a warrior. And warrior, you know, if they pop their AoE taunt, that there's a long cooldown. Mine is 12 seconds. So I just think early on a Prot Paladin is the answer.
I love Paladin in dungeons, man. Let me tell you, like, even in Classic, it's probably similar in TBC, but I can only imagine it seems even better in TBC because you have taunt, the frisbee, all that stuff. But so much to unpack here. On the gold farming front, do you think they're the best gold farmers, point blank period?
Yeah, there's nothing in TBC, nothing beats them.
Damn.
Cool. I'm not kidding. Like, those that are very well versed in TBC, most of everyone, you know how everyone went and made a mage alt for Classic? Yeah. Everybody's gonna have a Prot Paladin alt in TBC. Every single person.
That's gonna be kind of the mage of Classic. Of TBC. Sorry.
Everyone's gonna do it.
Yeah,
I'm doing it. Everyone's
Blood Elf Paladin. That's gonna be like
because like there'll be materials that'll be valuable. Prot Paladins can go into vanilla dungeons and vendor every single thing and make 500 plus gold an hour or 1,000 gold an hour depending on drops and things like that. They don't even need to play an auction house. They can sell it to a vendor because they're mass AoEing everything down.
Get that guaranteed gold. Yeah.
Yep. It's just the nice static gold. Of course there are, I mean, I could go into like every farming spot alone, but just in general they were.
And why are they so good at it?
Consecration, yeah. So Charred Earth is what I like to call the effect. Charred Earth doesn't have a cap. 500,000 mobs, Consecrate's still going to hit each one for 300 damage. You know, depending on gear.
That's what you call that mechanic where there's no AoE cap? I love it. I don't know if that's...
Charred Earth. That's because Flame Strike is Charred Earth. You know, and that's like for a mage to keep up an AoE. Their Flame Strike will, let's say 100 mobs. Their Flame Strike's going to hit for 12 damage. Okay? That's nothing. Their Charred Earth effect is going to tick for, you know, 150. So they can do rank 6, rank 7. You know, that's how they rotate those Flame Strikes so they have double Charred Earth effect.
That's insane. I love that. So that's how you can describe that type of effect.
Because there's beyond Flame Strike and Consecrate, I don't think there's another one.
Is it called a ground effect? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, ground effect.
Yeah.
I always think of like charter. I don't know, like
the AoE that sticks to the ground.
It sounds like.
Let's make it a thing, dude. Charter. The reason we saying charter at the TBC now.
This is what I've always called it.
Charred Earth effect. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So, what is consecrate tooltip here? Consecrate the land beneath the paladin. That's the tooltip on consecrate.
And consecrate available to all specs, not even a talent anymore. I always thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, so like your holy paladins consecrate in theory should be the strongest with their talents, and you know, you can have a holy paladin doing ridiculous AoE too if they just drop it.
I guess since we didn't even mention it, can you explain why paladins can even tank now in comparison to classic? I mean, I know you can in classic too a little bit, but what makes them, like, what abilities did you get that made it actually worse?
Taunt's a big one, of course. Holy Shield is in classic. I think improved Holy Shield makes it even better in TBC. I don't think classic has an improved Holy Shield talent spec. Avenger Shield is just kind of, it's nice for pulling, can get you in trouble if you don't understand it. Like, you can throw a shield and it'll bounce and hit a different mob depending on scripting. They get quite a bit more stamina buffs. Prop Paladins get a bunch of stamina talents, a bunch of them.
Is mana a concern though? You're the only tank that uses mana. I feel like that might be kind of sus.
Yeah, so mana is a concern, but it's also kind of nice when you. Usually, by the time you're even going on a boss is more so a concern than trash.
Yeah.
So you know, you just wouldn't consecrate. Now consecrate is a lot of your damage, but if you're just trying to like single target hold threat, maybe 1 or 2 consecrates early on and then don't use it again. If your DPS is good and the boss is dying in, you know, 30 seconds to a minute, great. If not, you're definitely using a mana potion or a dark rune, just like a warrior could use a mighty rage potion if they needed.
True. Is your damage pretty decent compared to the other tanks, since you have if you're fighting multiple targets? Or like, what about just compared to other DPS in general?
I'm behind in Hyjal, I'm behind warlocks.
So you're up there now.
You're doing a lot of damage. Yeah, you're doing ridiculous damage. I mean, I play pretty hardcore prop paladin. I'm using Stratholme Holy Water. I'm using Oil of Immolation still in TBC. I know in Shadow Labs there's those skeletons. Stratholme Holy Water, if somebody accidentally pulls them and they're all running towards a healer, while they don't have much health, they'll still kill a healer really quick. I throw the Holy Water, kills them instantly. They might scale with spell power, it might not. It's still a really good cooldown to use. Just having it. I'm weird like that, where my bags are filled with everything for every situation, and you personally have seen my bags, so the big one is swiftness potions. They're probably my favorite thing. But yeah, I mean, paladins can do a lot. I can turn the damage off whenever I want, no matter what. Warriors have intervene, paladins have bop. Warriors have shield wall, paladins have lay on hands. It's not going to save you in an enrage, but popping bubble and taunting a boss that is tauntable, you get 3 seconds of me not taking damage.
Yeah, that's a cool
and then I can cancel or a bubble and then die.
Argent Defender talent is also massive and 0 skill required because it's passive.
Correct. So like it's really good. I use Ardent Defender early on. Once I get into tier 5, I drop it.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Because I got 35. If I'm sitting at 35%, I'm usually dead no matter what. That damage reduction isn't going to save me. But again, right? I'm not currently tanking a lot of bosses. And anything that I am tanking in tier 5, like Hydros adds, Tidewalker adds, the weapons on Kael Thos. I'm never low enough for it to be useful.
So what do you take instead of Ardent Defender?
So I usually put 1 point into Reckoning, and I do one-hand specialization. And then I'm all the way down the red tree for Sankor. I don't have Avenger Shield at all. Once I get out of tier 4, I drop Avenger Shield.
Because as a warrior, I prioritize staying alive very highly. But I suppose if you're always tanking the same 24 Murlocs in Tidewalker fight, that's very consistent. Every attempt is 24 Warlocks. Every attempt is your health is going down to half, and you're happy. I suppose, yeah.
Yeah, so like me being at half health and then getting healed up, great. I get my mana back. I can keep going. The only boss in tier 5 that I end up like legitimately tanking is Void Reaver.
No, this looks so cool, man. Ardent Defender.
Dude, if a warrior had that.
Lower the big volume. Lower the big volume a little bit.
Lord, Yo. it was blasted, my bad. Yo, this Ardent Defender talent, though.
I'd give up Shield Wall, maybe also Last Stand for that talent.
When you have less than 35%, so this is times 5, though, so it's 30%? When you have less than 35%, all damage taken is reduced by 30%.
Is there an internal cooldown on that?
No, you don't even get a buff. Like, it's not saying, hey, it's currently active. It's just in place. So when I'm farming early on, when my gear is crap, Ardent Defender is glorious. Because I'll do such big pulls where it's down to the wire. Where I'll be down to like 20% health, keeping Seal of Light on or a Seal of Wisdom, just enough for me to keep dropping Consecrate. And I know Ardent Defender keeps me alive. End game rating, no, I will always be topped off. Any hit that I would take at 35% will always kill me. Very rarely would a boss that's going to hit me for 10, 13k, that damage reduction is still going to kill me if I'm that low in health.
See. So, okay. You're just taking such big chunks that it's not as...
Yeah, if I were to take a second hit of same value, even if it hits me right to the 35%,
Noggin 5.
that damage reduction isn't going to save.
What if you're farming though, dude? That might be busted.
Oh, farming! It's Ardent Defender is amazing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you're like AOE,
and like the whole Prot Pally's farming, it all comes down to one trinket out of Shattered Halls. That's what makes the magic happen.
Shredder's coming up.
I see.
Figurine of the Colossus.
What about Reckoning? Is it still decent in TBC or no?
Oh, most people don't go Reckoning.
Oh, okay.
I live for it, dude.
You live for it? Why is that?
Because like in dungeons, if I'm doing a huge AoE pull where I only have to worry about my AoE damage, not my single target, and I have Seal of Wisdom on my weapon, and let's say I have 10 mobs hitting me, Reckoning's up 100% of the time.
Naga's coming.
And every 2 swings, right, I'm restoring, what is it, 370 mana, right? Because it's 340 mana, excuse me. 170 mana times 2 each swing. I love Reckoning, especially in farming. In raiding, it's great when I have 1 point into it in my raid spec, and when it procs, it's great. But other than that, I don't need it at the gear point I'm at.
I see, man. They changed it though. Reckoning, it's not like that in Classic. 10% chance to make your next 4 weapon swings within 8 seconds generate additional attack. It's kind of cool now. I kind of like it. Maybe better. You can't sit proc anymore, but when it procs, it seems juicy. Yeah.
It's really good. On AoE pulls, like on the Murlocs and Tidewalker, it's up the whole time.
So there's got to be some downside to Paladin. We're like shilling Paladin seems amazing, best gold farmer. You're telling me it's somehow by some miracle it has good single target threat as well. What is the weakness that what is your kryptonite that you don't want people to know but you're gonna
the cons?
Raid bosses. Like the actual bosses themselves.
Sounds like a pretty big kryptonite right there.
It is. I mean, could you heal a Prot Paladin through it? Yes. You're stressing your healers. It would be so bad.
Paladins are so good at taking small amounts of damage, not big, fewer and far between big damage.
So let's break it down. They don't have a shield wall type thing, right? They don't have any kind of on-demand save my life.
So my shield block is a proc. It's called Redoubt.
Yeah.
So like that is my Redoubt will always be up again if I'm AoE tanking. It's generically up if I'm tanking a boss. And then Holy Shield is more so like the on-use additional block, but it's not as high as Shield block itself, and it's, you know, it's just another chance. Whereas Shield block is
still though 30% plus. In readout's pretty much always up, right? And this is 60%. That's 60% block plus 5% base block. I mean, that's 65% block. That sounds kind of busted, no?
Yeah, but I mean, the charges can be eaten as quickly as you hit it. And
in
versus...
AoE, they get eaten. Single target load don't.
Yeah, I'm saying on single target, if you're fighting a boss that has 2 second swing time or something, seems like you would always have it up.
Yeah, you will. You will. You better have Holy Shield up, otherwise you're gonna get slapped.
Yeah.
You're gonna get crushed usually early on.
But all things being equal, that's still 15% more block chance for Warrior, which is 15% more chance to get crushed as a Paladin.
I see, which is a big deal.
Unless you're making up that extra block chance in gear, which does sacrifice the rest of the stats of the Paladin.
So when he had said block rating in general, block rating's pretty easy to get, and as Paladins start to get it, uncrushable becomes easier. It's usually how you're going to become uncrushable early on is a high block rating.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay.
Dodge is still an amazing, like Morose's trinket that he's talking about. I still currently use, and then I can use a block trinket if I need to reduce hard hitting, like a Hygel ghouls. I'll use block set. They kind of hit hard, and it's nice to hit a block trinket and then be like, okay, this damage is greatly reduced. Where I'm reducing like a double block trinket, I can get like 1200 block damage, which is really, really strong.
So Paladins single target versus a heavy hitting guy, like a heavy hitting boss, single target, they take the most damage. It seems like that's a fair.
Correct. Yeah,
by a substantial amount. It seems.
Yeah, whereas like bears, they're gonna get crushed. Bears get crushed, like where Paladins and Warriors shouldn't be like as often be getting crushed as a bear. A bear can parry or dodge, or parry or block. Excuse me.
I see. Interesting. You get this 20 points of defense skill, man. The whole prot tree just looks delightful, though.
It's really good.
Are you using Avenger Shield single target and stuff? If a mana isn't a concern, you're just like dumping your mana with it.
So if I'm on a boss, there's no way in hell I'm gonna be casting a spell.
Oh, my bad. It's a cast, yeah.
So if you're casting, it is a short cast. Like, don't get me wrong, man. I'm 1000% guilty of whipping hammers of wrath during a boss fight.
If you had the swing timer, I mean, most bosses are going to swing in probably 2 seconds, right? So you could probably weave one in between their swings, but
you could.
Yeah.
It's just, again, if you're healers, if it's farm content, yeah, I'll let it rip, sure. And that's even if I have Avenger Shield. I get rid of it pretty early on, though.
What about like early Paladin? Is this the type of thing that it takes a little while for them to get going, or can they do okay right out of the gate on a fresh? Like, can they go into Karazhan and perform?
Yeah, so where they would shine in Karazhan is trash. Like, they have Karazhan's good threat, good single target, because a lot of the mobs are undead. But for the most, there are bosses like Curator. Curator's a big one where I see Paladins think they can tank, okay? They can't. Even in my tier 6 gear, it's really bad because Righteous Fury is based off damage. It's all damage. We don't have a spell that says causes a high amount of threat. Holy Shield might actually, but that would be it. I'd have to look.
Also, I just realized if you get silenced, you're kind of fucked, right?
Silence cripples us.
Laughs in physical attacks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So I mean, there's something like I'm thinking like early on Curator. If I can only do like 60, 70 damage, usually a healer's gonna do more threat than me. But of course, right? The second Evocate starts, Prot Paladins we're doing hundreds of % more damage. Prot Paladin's threat immediately spikes, and their threat goes right through the roof. And next thing you know, I'll pull threat off Prot Warriors at that point. Or Prot or Druids on a Curator fight early on. I try to be with a bear, so we split loot. I get plate, they get leather, but if I'm in there with a warrior, I'm still pretty I'm usually only after tier and a few of the other items, but they do all right. So if they're lower geared, yeah, they do all right in Karazhan.
Okay.
Everybody wants them. They want them in Karazhan, not for their boss tanking abilities. Because Prince will just shit on them, but they're there to make trash go fast, and again, that's where they shine.
Since everybody and their mom is going to be playing Paladin come TBC, it seems like that's a really popular class. Is it going to be extremely tough if you want that role as a Paladin tank? Like, is there going to be a ton of competition? The other part of that question is, what if you were like Ret or Holy? Could you still off tank or do dungeons or anything like that as the other ones? Because you still have Consecrate, you still have some of the tools. Or what do you think?
If TBC Classic is a complete joke, I wouldn't be surprised to see like Holy Paladins with Righteous Fury on tanking. Just casting like a Holy Shock on themselves, keep Consecrate down. They're not going to cast any other spells other than that, but if you give them, 2 full Consecrate worth of time, then then go full-blown AoE and they'll be fine if they can survive.
Gotcha.
Because beyond that, they don't even, they won't even need, Redoubt. If they can just be healed through it, they'll hold threat AoE. Yeah, the Righteous Fury is not a Ret Pally would probably have to throw on tank gear and then be fine, or a Holy Paladin could do it too.
Well,
just be Holy Spect. Because if I'm thinking speed aspect, you're not gonna, hey, let me go respec real quick because we don't need a prop Paladin on this fight. So that might be a thing where you just let your Holy Paladin AoE tank things.
One thing that's kind of interesting about a Paladin is that you don't need to get hit to generate any resources. You don't use rage, right? So that's kind of cool. Like you just spend mana, and you know it's not like a warrior or a druid where you have to get hit in order to like keep up with your threat.
Correct, but the spiritual attunement is the slight aspect to that, where if you get healed and you're not max health, you get mana back, which would keep the battery going.
Gotcha. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's true. That passive. If you're a Blood Elf Paladin, are you tanking with Seal of Blood? You happen to know?
No. Seal of Righteous. It scales with spell power, and if I've got spell power on the rest of my gear, of course, on some private servers, Seal of Blood scaling with spell power is hilarious, but it shouldn't be.
What's your take on the Pally TSW, man? You have any Pally envy, or you feel pretty confident as a warrior? I mean, anything stick out comparing the two?
I'm happy tanking the bosses if Paladin's happy tanking the trash. I think it synergizes really well in that sense. They both have their strengths and they both do it well. Okay. I don't want to be tanking trash.
If a thing gets away from a warrior or a druid, in aspect, if the synergy is lined up between my main tank, my off tank, and me, I'm not even the off tank in mine. I am literally support and AoE tank. My job is to get that mob back to my tank and let him taunt it off me, or I then tank it so it's not slapping the DPS.
Gotcha.
And kind of like what he said, if he's happy to tank the boss, dude, I'm there to get the trash.
Teamwork makes the dream work, baby.
TSW, what's something you really envy about the Paladin, and Kael, what do you envy the most about a warrior?
Sunder armors are awesome. Like the debuffs, warrior debuffs are so strong. Like if you're not running like an imp exposed rogue, Sunders they're mandatory if you don't have an arms warrior. The cooldowns are always cool. Healers getting stressed. Like I'm a raid leader as a prop Paladin, and if I need my main tank if I can see my healers gasping for a drink, or if it's going downhill, I can have him hit a cooldown. Those cooldowns they're just so nice, but the warrior tanks need to know when it's okay to use them.
They're big though, cooldowns, right?
They are, and that's why.
Minutes, man. That's a
like if we're doing Illidari Council and we're towards the end of the fight, we know Illidan's on deck, and we use Shield Wall right at the end of Illidari Council because it's going to be close. We know that we're going to have to hit every Illidan trap because we don't have shield wall. Or, you know, last stand is, you know, a better cooldown to hit. But it is
Will you eventually run out of mana as a paladin? I mean, it sounds stupid, but like, I mean, like if the fight goes long enough, you're actually going to go at some point, and you're just going to be right-clicking them and be kind of.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
No, you shouldn't. Of course, you'll have potions, dark runes, things like that. Where I do run out of mana is if I panic and hit lay on hands. Yes, I'm still alive, but that drains my mana to 0.
Yo.
And at that point, I might have to move myself into a Shadow Priest group. Just recently happened in a ZA run I did. I laid on hands. I didn't take any damage. We ended up, it went south. Like, I couldn't get back. I couldn't take more damage enough to sustain Consecrate staying on the ground.
Yeah, you really want mana potion cooldown available when laying on hands, so you have some, you know, gas in the tank still, so to speak, for doing your rotation.
And again, with the whole mana resource thing, again, using a mana potion does cause threat. So it's nice if I'm running into an AoE pack and some of them aren't all stacked up, or if I see them going towards a healer, me using that mana potion is a really good, it's a small amount of threat, but it's enough to pull it off healers.
Gotcha.
Yeah, body pulling, it's good.
What did you admire from the Pally TSW? Anything?
I think we haven't spoken a lot about the other blessings, only blessing of protection. Well, we spoke about salve a bit, but, you know, wisdom, might, kings, all massive buffs to bring to the table.
Sanctuary, is it still as good in TBC as it is in Classic? I remember Lestor, one of the big brains in Classic, said if threat isn't a consideration, he thought that Sanctuary was the best buff in the game because it mitigates so much damage in aggregate.
If you're tanking many mobs, yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's holy damage for prop paladin. So of course, holy damage with Righteous Fury, it's more threat. On a warrior, it is great damage reduction. You know, if they are AoE tanking, 80 damage or whatever it is. Let me look.
It's like a big thorns that works in both directions. You're not only reducing damage taking when you're getting hit, but you're also dealing damage when it goes out. For anyone watching who doesn't know what it is.
Yeah.
But 80 damage each swing, and
pretty big.
Does it make it so you need a prot pally in the raid? It seems like you would need one for every raid.
I never get that buff in the raid. It's always for
you'd
tanking.
have to have 4 paladins, like legitimately. You'd have to have 4 paladins, enough for a prot warrior to ever see that buff.
Really?
Kings is the biggest one for raid tanking, just because it's the health is, you know, 10% stamina is huge.
Because on the 3 paladins, you'd have kings, might, light, and the 4th pally would put sanctuary.
Okay.
But you would never see that buff unless he was, you know,
in a suboptimal raid, so it doesn't really happen. But
That's
not
correct.
to say that it can't. Or for niche scenarios, the paladin can buff it themselves if they're tanking.
All right. Well, let's finish off one last point on paladin tank. Fun/quality of life. Is it just thinking about the entirety of the life cycle of a TBC server, like from start to finish? Is it fun all the way through? Is it fun at all?
Yep, it's. I gotta say it would have to be the most fun. Bears probably second. Warriors gotta be third in that aspect. I couldn't see, like, Warriors look. They got like the visual aspect, which I love the Warrior T6 over all the tanks. When I put all 3 T6 tanks next to each other, everybody loves the Warrior.
Yeah.
Even with the car door shield on your back, the bulwark. But and everything else, from farming to helping your, like when you get super geared and your friends are like, come help me in like a normal, you literally take no damage and you top meters as a prot paladin. Gold, right? Like, absolutely.
Just the idea of farming the most gold in the game just sounds so juicy. Yeah.
Of course, you're the flavor of the month.
Yo. All right, let's move on to Druid, shall we? We'll finish up with our last class here. We're going a little bit long. You guys, hopefully, I don't know if you guys are still good on time. Sorry, we've been going on a little bit.
I'm good on time, yeah.
Okay. I'm having an absolute blast. Hope everybody in the chat's having fun learning about.
Can you hear me?
TBC. Yes, sir.
What's 3 things that, Kael, you see that paladins always fuck up? Common mistakes.
They're really
It's
not
that, it's that easy.
Is
It's
that
that
possible?
easy.
You drop consecrate.
Fury.
That's true. It's not this. It's not. Doesn't work like that for prop paladins. Like, okay, consecrating when there's crowd control. Like I do it sometimes. Like if there's a sheep, they'll drop a consecrate, and consecrate you can't just stop. It ticks and ticks and ticks, so you can break CCs pretty bad as a paladin. Whereas they might like. You take consecrate away from a fresh paladin, and they will feel naked. They will be like, oh, I have to play like a warrior now. I have to hit one, judge the other, and then stand there and do nothing. Like that would be one of the big things. Not cleansing. Like honestly, I don't know how many bad prop paladins I've come across that just don't cleanse. They don't bop a DPS, blessing of protection. They don't.
That's big.
They just don't. Their paladins have so much utility. Like
use the utility. Yeah.
Correct. You use it. Like,
3-minute bop too, right? Isn't it for prot? Sick, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, having a tank that can res, right? Sometimes if a warrior and a druid are the tank and a healer in a group, and the rest die, like they're sitting there like, oh great. They're paladins that just don't use their utility. I don't know about a third one though. It's
good feedback, man.
Well, off-spec heal is a big one as well.
Correct.
You know, if you don't need a paladin, Hearthstone, retalent, come back, drop your healing gear on, and you're still in the raid and you can help heal. Like it's quite. You can or do ret if you don't happen to have a ret paladin. You're more hybrid spec than a warrior with 3 specs.
Yeah, and that'd be the
But
big
that's
thing.
not, you know, we all play a specific spec, so it's not that big of a deal. But if you're a more casual WoW player, you've got that flexibility. You say, this paladin stuff sounds really interesting, but you don't want to commit to tanking. You don't have to because you've got 3 outlets as a paladin with only 2 as warrior.
Yeah.
And the final thing I'll say about paladins is every spec of paladin, like when kind of to branch off what he said. On the start of a server, everybody's going to want prop paladins for dungeons, for Karazhans. So if you want to be a main holy paladin, you better have a prod off spec. If you think you're going to be the main ret paladin in a guild, you better have a prod off spec or a holy. A prod paladin should have a holy off spec, even though I choose ret, just because I just don't want to heal.
You think prod is the best spec for paladins in TBC? Like just all things
Hands
considered.
down.
Yo, I love it. I love prop pally, dude.
Ret's fun. Ret is super fun. Ret, of course. Holy paladins are just they're needed. They're needed for their blessings and their tank healing, and that's an oof spec.
Could you heal as prot if you just threw on healing gear and didn't even respec?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Are you at like you don't have? Of course, there's only a few things you're trying to get a higher intellect pool. You know, you lose out on the holy like crit talents, but yeah, you're there. You can absolutely throw very strong off heals.
That's awesome, man. And you still get the blessing of light, right? So you can still kind of like heal.
Yep.
I wrote a paladin like 6 months ago, and just to do some dungeons, and it was a lot of fun. And one thing I kept messing up was that downranking your consecrate all the time. It's max rank conting all the time. Miserable.
You see your mana pool just get shredded.
Yep. Early on, a prop paladin is you like I get 5 consecrates. If we're not done by then, run.
If you don't have all the big brain, or not big brain, but all the tryhard stuff that you have in your bag, like mana potions, demonic runes, dark runes, like are just normie paladins gonna run out of mana? You know, like maybe that's like maybe they don't, but you know, like just should they really make an effort to like
the reason I have those consumed are to make everything go faster. Like I could stop and drink, or I can hit a mana potion and keep pulling. A mana potion is a great just keep going. Like if I'm running a Karazhan, I am chugging them, just go, just to get through that raid.
Yo, I feel you, because, you know, in Classic, people say, yo, prop paladins can't tank for shit, they always have to drink. So I played a prop paladin in Classic 2, I have one right now, and that would trigger me. I didn't want to be that typical paladin that would always be, like, drinking after every pull, and people would, like, make fun of you. So I would do the same thing, you know, just pop potions just so you can keep up the pace, so people think, like, paladins are fine for tanking, you know?
Well, when threat's not an issue for the last 10 seconds of the fight, you can just, as a paladin, hands off keyboard and just take damage. You can even sit and get crit or turn around and get hit in the back for no avoidance and take damage. You'll get healed and your mana will go up as well.
That's big brain. Take more damage intentionally, batter yourself.
But if you see the priest healer is low on mana, they're going to drink anyway, so you might as well drink with the priest.
Yeah. All right, the druid time. All right, TSW, kick us off. The druid tank. You already said some crazy stuff. The fact that they're gear dependent, like that's insane to me. The fact that they can almost dodge every attack at some point, like I don't know what to think about the druid in TBC now.
Yeah, so I mean, they scale being like little kitties, domestic cats, and throughout the gearing process, they become absolute, wild cats that are going to rip your face off. They really go from one extreme to another.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we've spoken about them. They take the crushing hit, which, correction, it's 15% chance, not 20% chance to take a crush, but that doesn't really matter. The fact that they take these big hits 15% of the time from the boss, they rely solely on their big health pool and their big armor to not drop like a warrior would or a paladin would taking a crush. A druid will take a crush and survive. The one big threshold as a druid that you want to aim for is being able to take back-to-back crushes and staying alive. That's a big kind of milestone to reach, so that, for example, let's say the boss crushes for 10k on you as a druid. Mm-hmm. If you've got 19.9k HP, you're dead. If you've got 20.1k HP, 200 HP difference, but you're going to survive every single time just with 200% HP. You could maybe mess around with some gear and fill that void, and all of a sudden you go from a druid that your raid leader wants to get rid of, bring a warrior in, bring a paladin in, but you just have 200 more HP and you can tank it.
Then you become the best tank. That's so crazy. So you actually have to know the boss and how hard they hit, and so you can adjust your gear so that you can survive the crushes. And then at that point, you have the highest threat, potentially, because you're saying they had the highest single target threat, right?
Yeah, but early on, like it's the same with everything. It's a different story when you're low geared than when you're high geared, and then farming raids, and then trying to push it to the max. It just kind of, goes up a cliff, and it's just how you play it, and how Blizzard wants you to play it as you ramp up, and then how you can go into turbo mode with all the extra details.
I see. Do they have the easiest gearing for tanks compared to Paladin and Warrior? Because I know you make that cleft hoof set, and it seems like
got the easiest leveling, which is a big strong point of the Druid.
Easiest leveling. Yeah.
Yeah. Mangle is so overpowered, and you're just you can heal yourself after every other pack, versus Warrior, which is just, it's as bad as it is in Classic, really. And then Paladin is average.
So the gearing doesn't stand out as being exceptionally easy on Druid or anything like that. It's about the same.
Gearing is annoying potentially. If you want to be a min-maxer, you need Arena and BGs, because PvP gives you bonus armor, which is big, and also resilience is big.
For tanking.
Immunity.
For bears.
Oh, for bears.
Like your cleft hoof set, which is the leatherworking items, which are BOE, can be traded to whoever. So basically, once you ding 70, you just get the full 3-set cleft hoof set.
You need leatherworking
chest,
though, right?
Legs, feet. No, you don't need leatherworking to wear it.
Oh, wow.
There's a 20 strength set bonus, which needs leatherworking, but disregard that entirely.
Just wear it without the set bonus. That's awesome. I actually didn't know that.
Those are really nice items for defense rating and will help you get crit immune. But as you go into tier 4 has no defense rating on it. So you're going to be thinking, oh my god, I'm struggling to stay crit immune. The easiest way, or the best way, point for point, to push crits off the combat table is resilience. Yes, there might be a defense neck and ring that you can use, great, but you still might need a little bit, or you might not necessarily want to use a defense rating neck. You might want to use maybe a bigger stamina or a big agility or a big hit rating neck, and you can just wear, PvP wrists are, I think, the big slot for druids tanking, because they give you a gem which is hard to come by in wrist, and they give you the resilience for crit immunity, and they have big armor, and they have good stamina on them anyway, as they're PvP orientated.
I see. Interesting.
There are several quests you need to do as well for big armor items. There were some in Shadowmoon Valley. I think it's belt
There's
and
some
wrist.
Netherstorm has the armor pieces as well.
Which ones are from Netherstorm?
Belt? Is it belt? What's that tree mender's belt? Or it's trees. Trying to remember the item, but I think it's belt.
But also, don't be deceived by, oh, this has a bit more stamina. No. The difference between an item with like 100 armor and 400 armor is huge as a bear form, because you're getting 400% value. Is it 400 armor? Yeah, 400 from armor. So that those 300 points of armor really adds up. There's a Brachis staff of something that has like 550 armor, and it's level
BOE
54 BOE. Yeah, so that's really big. I know that if I'm on a leveling druid and I pop on that staff, that's like 5% reduced damage right there. It's massive. Obviously that's compared to leveling gear, but just to give you an example of one armor item for 550 whilst leveling is 5% reduced damage, which is huge.
So do you think a bear tank on fresh server like TBC Classic just launches? You're saying they're pretty gear dependent. You don't think they could main tank for a little bit? They would have to build their way up to it if they wanted to do it.
Yeah, generally speaking, they're going to struggle just because a big thing that I don't think we've mentioned is the way that an item with 2% dodge becomes dodge rating, and the amount of dodge you get from that rating is less and less as you level more and more. So if you're level 1 twink with something with 20 dodge rating, that's going to give you like 4 or 5%, something like that, percent dodge. But as you go up to level 70, that's going to be like 2% dodge. So it basically what happens is if you get 2/3 of the avoidance at level 70 as you would level 60. So at level 60 you have an item that gives you 1% dodge. At level 70 that gives you about 0.66% dodge. So it's still something, but Blizzard really wants to push you away from that classic gear, because you could just wear load, like a lot of the classic gear is percentage based, and that's really good, but it's designed just for 60, and with the introduction of rating system, it just look at the new gear is what Blizzard's saying, and it is better in TBC to just use TBC gear where you can.
I see.
And with tanking in general, because you're going for stamina and armor, they are core stats with itemization, and as the item level of the gear goes up, the armor and the stamina will almost always go up, and by a considerable amount. So tanks in particular, or I think tanks especially, are the most TBC gear dependent going forward. Everything else can do its job reasonably well with like tier 3 and vanilla gear, whereas a tank, you're going to see the most notable difference, I think, wearing level 60 gear. Partly because you'll be crit. Like a warlock not being hit cap sucks, but you're not going to die. A warrior being critable sucks because you're wiping the raid.
Makes sense.
So I feel a little different. Whereas I feel like the start of fresh TBC server, you're hitting 70. I'm gonna put a bear druid on High King Mulgore. I'm gonna put the warrior on the shaman dude, or just all kind of depends on how many tanks I have on that fight. We might solo tank one tank, just solo tank the priest and the warlock. And then for Gruul, I feel like a bear druid just having more art, like, right, you're thinking you got some quest items, you got the craftables. I think I'm gonna put a bear druid main tanking Gruul first day.
Yeah, just, bear is very strong.
I'm just talking like opening up T4 where like you get into Kara, bear druid.
You think timing wise the druid would just have the best gear, like all things considered for that?
Like just quick slap together, like, hey, Gruul's gonna reset here, let's try to take a stab at it. I'm putting a druid tank on Gruul every time.
Interesting.
Just the armor, just strictly on the armor aspect.
I like the simplicity of Druid. You stack armor and health, and you're just either chunky enough or you're not. Like, there's no luck to it. I mean, another question: is a crush 2x damage like a crit, or is it 1.3x damage? I know crit's double damage, right? But I forgot how crush works.
I was trying to look it up, and I can't find what it is, and I don't know off the top of my head because it's not a concern because shield block. All I know is that it hurts a lot. I think it's more than a crit.
More than a crit? Oh, wow.
I could be mistaken. Maybe chat knows.
The Terran Gorfiend and Black Temple currently is crushing for 13 to 14k.
Joe in the game in chat says it's 1.5, whereas a crush is ×2. So it's half a crit damage.
Okay.
Where it's double damage.
Crush is 1.5x.
It's 15% of the time. So it's if you're nowhere near crush cap and you're doing nothing to avoid crushes, it's 15%, whereas a crit is 5.6%.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's more often than a crit.
Makes a lot of sense.
If you're not tanky.
Yeah, it's those big spikes of damage, and you can get back-to-back crush. You might get crushed, crit, crush, something like that. You can get out of hand probably.
Yeah, it's the spikes that generally kill you. Healers need to be asleep at the keyboard if you're going to die over the course of 8 seconds from full to dead. Whereas it's the spike in between holy lights and maybe a mechanic involved, like if the boss is auto attacking and does a mortal strike or something, that's when you get caught off guard. And if one of those is a crit or a crush, you only need to hit 0 HP once in a 6-minute encounter to die. Whereas you can be going up and down, and as long as you never dip to 0, you're fine.
Because in Classic, one of the strongest reasons why you might want to run a Druid in your raid was that it helps just the item it helps the progression of the raid more, because like more of the gear can go to the right place. Like you more organically power up as a raid because some of that gear is being distributed to a Druid. Is that kind of the case in TBC as well? Like if you have a Druid tank there, they're absorbing some of the gear.
There's not that much Druid gear that isn't tier gear. So obviously with TBC you got the tokens instead of the actual items themselves dropping.
Oh yeah.
So the warrior tier 4 is shared with priest and druid.
Okay.
So I remember I was raid leading a guild once, and I had confidence in this fell druid, even though we hadn't really played much together because it was a new server, new guild. And I was confident with how well he was doing Kara that I was like, yeah, I'm happy for you to take the tier 4 helmet. He may have also got the tier 4 gloves, which aren't especially powerful for warrior. So I was happy for him to get the gloves, and he happened to get I was happy for him to take the helmet for tier 4. And so starting, gruel progression, like Kael was saying, it is nice having a druid if he has these special items that are far and few between. But if you get lucky and you're stacking the armor, or you're starting to stack the armor as a druid, you can really just follow that flow and have the druid be main tanking.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, once druids achieve their 4-piece T4 and like Earth Warden, they're solid. You don't even have to throw any more gear at them at that point.
Yeah,
and then as it goes into
no gear,
them sharing with Warrior Priest Druid, you can put them on the back burner for T5 because that T4 lasts through T5. And of course, before T6, sure, you want to get your Bear Druid into some T5, great. And then once they're into Tier 6, Vank is Rogue Mage Druid, and they get their Tier 6 immediately. And at that point, they're off to the races. And as you heard us say, Bears become the best. Yeah, they really get dumb at that point. Their gearing is literally just kind of following. They can survive without Tier 5. It's just, higher stamina.
So could you drive that point home again when you say they're the best? So they get the Sunwell, and then I guess you can't block stuff anymore in Sunwell? Is this or maybe I'm misunderstanding this? So that
you get 20% reduced dodge chance in Sunwell, as well as the mobs getting 5% more chance to hit. So let's say your avoidance cap is 102.4%.
Yeah.
That 20% plus 5% is being taken off that combat, or that the combat table is being increased by 25%. So it's no longer 102.4, it's 127.4. So you have a big step that you need to fill in if you want to continue.
So your avoidance is less effective in Sunwell. Whatever you had on Warrior or Paladin, your block chance, your dodge chance, your parry chance, all of that is diluted by like a certain percent.
It's Blizzard's reaction to being able to be avoidance cap in Black Temple. You know, that's not how Blizzard designed the game. They probably weren't expecting people to do that. In the same way that Blizzard might not have expected dual-wielding tanks in vanilla. You know, it's just one of those things where, oh, well, you know, we're happy that people can do this, that's fine. We're not going to, you know, back in vanilla, we're not going to, you know, break something that makes this inefficient. And it's the same way as in Black Temple. Oopsie, we made an oopsie, so in the next content patch, they try and fix it.
What if they did that to all the
I'm pretty
raids,
sure they
though?
did in Wrath of the Lich King, too, in Ice Crown. I'm pretty sure.
What if they did that to all the raids to buff TBC? You think it's possible? Like, Blizzard's reaction, what if they, you know, move into TBC and did that to, like, Kara, T4, T5?
I mean, it would destroy Paladins for a lot longer.
Oh, yikes.
No!
They'd need 25% more avoidance before they can tank the boss.
Which is already, you know...
They wouldn't be tanking, like... I don't know. If it was on trash as well, like, they'd struggle. You'd just bring, like, 4 warriors, maybe. I don't know. It'd be interesting. But what I like is, on the 2.0 itemization private servers, it's really cool that instead of buffing the bosses, you're nerfing the player, or in many cases, you're buffing the bosses and nerfing the player. But, you know, when Blizzard releases TBC, we don't expect it to be 2.0 itemization.
Can we get everybody in the chat to type a quick /salute for the absolute GOAT, Kevin Jordan, in the chat? Just please, if you could just type that /salute to the god. He's here chilling with us, man. You love to see it. Absolute monster. Interesting, man. So another question: if you're off tanking as a druid, let's say early, would you say they have the highest damage output? Like if they just go into cat form, they're doing more damage than a warrior that put on a two-hander, or a paladin that threw on a two-hander or something. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, like the way like min-maxing, the way I look at it is like this: druids kind of just go cat. Your warriors can put on like Annihilator or a Nightfall. Your paladin can do the same thing, where you're not trying to pump damage, you're just trying to play support. But a druid just goes pure cat and just scratches their way up the meter.
Gotcha. Rix, you got anything for him on druid? Anything come to mind? Oh, you might be
muted. Bro. Still muted.
Muted. What about while he unmuted?
What?
Oh, there it is. There he is.
I don't know nothing about druid tanking. No.
Yeah. What about fun / quality of life? You think it's fun to play a druid? You put it at number 2 even before warrior, Kael.
World PvP, it's a blast. Druids are just druids. They don't change from vanilla. They're strong. World PvP. Leveling is a joke. Like him saying, yeah, they can toss a heal, go back into cat. Not only that, they regen their mana while they're scratching something, and every time they crit, they get healed for 5% of their health. You know, with improved leader of the pack, it's you don't ever stop as a druid. Farming, they're the best gatherers.
Oh yeah, true.
You know, Epic Flight Form, it won't. I don't know if it'll be out upon launch, but when they get it, you know, them being gatherers, if you're gonna have an herbalist alt, it'll always be a druid. You just have to get it through the quest line to get the Epic Flight Form, which is the more annoying part. If you're just gonna have an alt just for gathering, you got to put a little work into it. But they're off specs, like they got the most. They got actual DPS cat, they got boomkin, they've got resto druid. They can kind of do they can do every role.
The fast leveling, do every role, flight form, yeah, Cyclone, NS Cyclone, light, so much fun stuff with druid actually, man.
Yeah, I put them behind prop paladin because I just don't play them. Druids might put them above a prop paladin.
What about on the multi-target threat? So we talked about single target threat. Correct me if I'm wrong. It seemed like it was we're talking full BIS, full BIS. Druid was number 1. Pally was number 2. Warrior was number 3 by some bizarre twist of fate. On multi-target, full BIS. Just to kind of, or whatever it's worth.
They're third. Like.
Ah.
I don't think so. I think they're second. Swipe's got no cooldown.
Yeah.
But what about like cleave and stuff?
Tank 3 mobs in like once they have gear. Like if you have a bit of tier 6 and you've got is it 2 set for swipe or 4 set for swipe? And regardless, like you can just swipe 3 targets and no one will pull them off you. Like you are guaranteed 3 targets, and you'll probably top damage as well on 3 targets, just because your swipes are built for 3 targets. Whereas like a Seed of Corruption, that's not built for 3 targets. Your warlocks are probably going to be individually.
What did they do against like 10 targets? Maybe Warrior's better against that, or
no?
No. 10 targets is like, I don't know.
Druid will be dying if they don't have lots and lots of avoidance, because their dodge is good single target. They'll, let's say half the time they'll avoid the attack, but half the time against 10 mobs is still 5 attacks every swing.
Gotcha. So it seems like they're above Warrior. I mean, what does Warrior do against 10 targets? Just cleave, thunderclap. Cry for
panic.
You respec and get piercing howl and trying to do some taxing.
Damn, dude, Paladin
you yell at the mob.
Yeah, it's rough.
So good.
You have to rely on kiting when it's 10. Like one thing we didn't touch on is, particularly in 5-man and heroic content, you don't necessarily have to have threat. You don't have to have every mob attacking you. If Skull's on 5% HP and it runs towards Crix, I can leave it, because it'll probably either die before it reaches him, or I can, be lazy and rely on his shatter, or if he's paying attention, his mic's not muted, he can just like run away a bit and then it'll die.
Fuck you.
Mama didn't rain those, bitch.
Or if it's anyone else, like if a Fury Warrior pulls aggro, he can tank it for 5 seconds, no problem. I don't need to spend my taunt on Skull when Skull dies by the time my taunt debuff ends, and I can just have taunt ready for the rest of the mobs, or Shield Slam ready for the rest of the mobs. You can forget about stuff sometimes and it'd be okay.
Gotcha. Well, guys, let's take some questions. Crix, I don't know if you've been writing any down. Let me check the Twitter. If you guys,
I've been kind of just answering them in the chats.
Okay. Well, if anybody right now has some questions, like we have a very special opportunity here to go right to the top of the food chain right here and ask some hard-hitting tanking questions. Now's your chance, chat. Tweet at us at the Dark Portal Show. Good chance I won't know how to see these tweets, but I'll do my best here. Let me see if anyone.
And people memed about it. Yes, there are Warlock tank fights, and yes, there are Mage fights, but it was actual tank episodes. I think there's only how many Mage tanking fights are there? 2, 3, and there's 3 Warlock ones: Leotheris, Illidan, KT.
Mage has Hacking Olgar and Illidar Council.
Yeah, it's just 2.
Let me see here. Okay, we actually got some tweets at us. Hell yeah. Okay, first one was, can you talk about Mage Warlock tanking as well? You just answered that, right? Just a couple fights. Or is there anything you want to talk about on that? Or is this just a couple one-off fights that Mage or Warlock would tank? Like, I think Gruel's is the main one.
I'd say while it's leveling, like you could probably do it now in Classic and just pick up, high stamina items. Or if you want to be really forward-thinking, fire resist items and stuff for your Warlock tank and Mage tank. But yeah, it's never too early to start thinking about things. But generally speaking, on a fresh TBC server, anyone in the guild who comes across a high stamina item or nature resist, or we didn't talk about Hydros resist tanking, but that's okay. Just any of these good resist items or big stamina items, just drop them in the guild bank. Guild banks are also a thing in the TBC.
I would always say,
anyone who comes across anything, just dump it in the bank.
You're going to get upgrades as a Mage or a Warlock, and if they have sockets, Belt of Ruination, right? Let's say you upgrade that to Belt of Blasting. Keep your Belt of Ruination and socket stam in it.
Yeah.
Keep your old gear that has sockets and just turn it into your tank gear. If I meet a Mage and they don't have a tank set, it's kind of weird. It's like, well, not saying you ever have to use it, but why not have it just in case? It's
Yeah,
not
if
a
you're
hard
making
thing.
it
We're not asking you to do anything hard. You're literally casting your DPS spell, which could be Frostbolt, Fireball. You're probably not going to do it as Arcane because it's too mana intensive. But your spell steal a buff, and you keep DPSing. Nope, you're not fighting for threat in either of the situations, because by the time the DPS get to High King Mulgar's mage tank mob, you've had at least a minute of by yourself damaging it. But I would always say just kind of keep your tank gear going. There's items where you'll want to have like a hit rating, so you'll want to keep like, because you're gonna go all this stamina gear, but you still gotta try to be hit capped. So it's kind of important to keep those hit items too with your stamina gear.
Interesting. Another question that's kind of might be worth considering is, out of the 3 tanks, which one has the most complex rotation with the most decision making? I feel like at the highest end of play, though, it might be the type of thing that all of them have their own nuances.
I feel like it's Warrior.
Warrior?
Like, Warrior is never a rotation, it's more of like a priority list. So, whereas, like, as long as my 3 abilities are on cooldown, I'm good to go as a Paladin. It's not that, Holy Shield, Judge, Consecrate.
Yeah, I think there's more things to consider as Warrior. You've got your debuffs, you've got a Shout, and you've got your 3 or 4 spells that you need to prioritize on top of that.
Okay, so Warrior. Next one would be, if you're playing a Pally, how important is like strength versus like intelligence, for example? Like, in vanilla, I guess, you kind of want a lot of int if you're trying to tank stuff in vanilla, because the itemization is so rough. What's your thoughts on that?
So there are items, like all your tier pieces have intellect on them, which are great. There are very good tanking items that don't have intellect on them. Strength just gives some block. It's nothing to you would never like want strength, and that's why end game none of your items have strength. You just kind of passively. There are some items you pick up that do have strength, but for the most part, you're not. Strength really isn't a concern as a Paladin.
Okay.
Intellect's cool. Again, you get it from a craftable trinket. Your weapon will always give intellect. Occasionally, if you can pick up a spell power shield, will have intellect. But other than that, all your off pieces, rings might have it. If you have certain spell power rings.
Okay.
There's spell power rings that don't have intellect, so.
Seems like spell power is.
I mean, if you're asking between int or strength, of course you want a mana pool. So mana pool equals spells, which means threat.
I see. So your threat is really being generated as a function of your spells and spell damage, as opposed to any kind of attack power or right click,
Correct.
Type of thing. Okay.
And strength is like, okay, great, you get a little block, but block value, but that's it's minuscule.
Okay.
Just
sorry, go ahead.
Talking about the Paladin gear, like as a warrior, it's also okay to wear Paladin orientated gear, because, for example, the dungeon set, is it
Righteous?
Righteous. The shoulders in particular are fantastic for warrior. They've got defense rating on, they've got spell damage, and they've got stamina, intellect, and 3 gem sockets. So basically, if those shoulders were identical, but they just didn't have spell damage and intellect on it, people would think it's warrior shoulders. Every warrior would consider it as their, 3rd best in slot before raid, and everyone would go for it or wear it. But people don't wear it because they see intellect, and that's not for warriors. When you need to just look past the intellect, it's still high armor, high stamina, defense rating, and 2 gem slots for stamina. It's really good. It's almost as good as the Spaulders of the Bold, which is the warrior tanking dungeon set. It's almost identical.
Interesting. Okay.
Yep.
Another question coming out of my man Dexter Nugent. He's asking, fresh server horde side. If you're pushing for like a server first, you want to be at the very cutting edge of a fresh server on horde side. Which tank are you recommending for that?
Warrior.
Yeah.
There it is.
Warrior.
There it is, folks. There it is, folks. Let's see here. What else? Are questions?
Unless I'm playing.
Kael's going Pally every time. Are you guys both going Warrior and Pally for a real TBC?
I'll be playing Paladin. Yep.
Yeah.
I'll hopefully be playing Warrior. Yeah.
Yo, Jamin, thank you for the raid, man. The 28 party raid. Welcome in on it. Welcome on in, everybody. Welcome. We're getting some tweets. We're getting tweeted at. This is good. Let's see.
One thing that concerns me though is if they do fresh for TBC, what reason is there to go Alliance?
I know.
Didn't get your thoughts on that actually. Yeah. So you really do see it as a black and white type thing. Horde way better.
In every aspect.
Man.
Like, granted, some Alliance buffs are cool, but
I mean, you've basically got what's it called? The gnome ratio to get out of CC versus the Horde. And the Horde.
The Draenei hit stuff. You got,
I mean, the human warrior with like expertise is nice. Like it's all right.
Seal. What about is that? You were saying eventually you seal righteousness anyway, but on the tanking side you get the seal of vengeance if you're trying to.
Yeah, I mean, so when the seal of righteous Libram comes into play, like there is no way in hell I'm using seal of vengeance ever.
No application.
Unless like I want to put a dot on Illidan before he flies up to have that dot do a little damage while he's up in the air. Like.
But when does that drop though? Is that like late T6 type thing, or is it late?
Yep. It's when T6 begins.
Okay, so you still got a little bit of time though before.
But other than that, like the Consecrate Libram is for all your AoE tanking, and the Shield Block rating Libram is for everything else, like all of the single target damage you're gonna take.
Okay. Well, I mean, one thing I would say throughout there is like, if you're gonna compare Horde to Alliance, it's like comparing an apple to an orange, right? Like, why would you compare an apple to an orange? The Alliance guys will parse with the Alliance people. The Horde will be compared to other Horde people. So maybe it's not so big of a deal. But I'm worried everybody's gonna go Horde. But sorry,
why would you play Alliance? Like any serious guild will be Horde. If there's no changes, every serious guild will be Horde.
Damn, feels.
Or if there's faction change.
Like, it's like, how do you buff the Alliance? You don't.
Are the meters and all that? Is it just significantly different? When you're looking at like an Alliance raid versus a Horde raid. I mean, are we talking 15% stronger or something, or?
You have orcs. Granted, hunters are going to be insanely popular. They're dumb damage. Orc racial, just let's give their pets 5% damage. Oh, let's also give them an attack power on use. Oh, for casters, let's give them a third trinket, excuse me. Okay. Trolls. No, you won't see a lot of troll rogues, but late game troll rogues they're the best. I think they're the best with warglaves. Like the attack speed is just too good.
That sounds like it. That sounds like that would look really sick. A troll rogue with warglaves.
Troll rogues are awesome.
I remember in retail there was a troll rogue on my server, and he looked so badass.
Yeah. Big ass warglaves, the animations.
Yeah, the first warglaves on our server went to a troll rogue.
Oh, Wind Fury. Well, but the Lions get Wind Fury too. Yeah. No,
even like troll hunters aren't even bad. Bow specialization is decent. Like it's and the attack speed isn't. It's not like terribly bad. I feel like I would go troll over dwarf. Dwarfs get guns, trolls get bows.
Yeah.
But that berserking cooldown is better than stone form for PvE.
Here's another question: How many consumables do you have to use as a tank in TBC? Is it more than classic, or can you get away with less consumables? I guess it would depend on which class, but what are your thoughts?
So, for prop paladins, you have weapon oils, which to me outweigh Wind Fury. There is a blacksmithing item you can put on your chest, which absorbs damage. Yep. It's just a nice little, hey, you're a min-maxer, so putting it on your chest. Beyond that, you got food buff, flask, and the oil. Potion-wise is all dependent, like paladins are going to go through a bunch of potions, mana potions, or maybe destruction potions for threat. Iron shields, warriors have less potions to worry about. Druids, druids, kind of win in that department of less consumables.
Would you say, was there ever a time you could see yourself using like a pure death flask over a tanking one?
Yeah, like
spell power
just
flask?
like as a warrior, maybe I don't know if they'd ever use a relentless assault. Depends on how big of a joke it is. But statistically, I'm gonna run spell power flask almost all the time. Almost all the time.
Oh, okay.
One thing I really like is using the defensive flask to mean that I can wear, because I'd rather have XPs and hit than attack power from a flask. So you continue to use the fortification tank flask, but it affords you, with that extra health and a bit of defense rating it gives in TBC, it affords you the tankiness to be able to wear the expertise gear and the hit rating gear.
Okay. Last call for questions, ladies and gents. You got the big brains right here.
Can you, does the main tank require as much dedication as it does in vanilla?
I would say so.
You don't need a Thunder Fury after you enter tier 5.
Okay. How do you value Stam versus Agi on a bear tank?
Stamina until Valhalla, all the way.
Until Valhalla.
Personally, it basically means, are you going to die in the encounter? No. Okay, then you can do agility. Are you going to die in the encounter? Is there a chance you'll die in the encounter? Stamina. But also going back to the previous question about consumables for warrior, I'd say classic is more intensive just because there are more of them, whereas with classic with their TBC, it's a lot more streamlined. You're just armor potting on cooldown for progression. You've got a flask or elixirs which aren't as intense on the gold, and there's just a few extra items here and there. It's not nearly as crazy as classic.
I was watching, I was talking about this before, but you go watch like the world first make Therodon kill, and Kungan has like flask, elixirs, like it's just funny, like, but prior, it was just everything stacked.
That's
like
classic now.
Yeah, and I know, but it's just,
So
it's cool to see it in a TBC environment,
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus.
So it seems relative, like in the context of TBC, it's a little bit less expensive maybe to raid and less time consuming.
Yeah. And I think you can raid log. I mean, I was going to say maybe you can raid log sooner, but I don't think you really can because there is a lot of content to get through. You've got your heroics and the reputation, but it's cheaper to raid log. That's probably
cheaper to raid log. That's good news for a lot of people. Yeah, it's expensive as hell to raid in Classic. Man.
Is it?
Well, also on your previous podcast, you were talking about going into TBC not having gold and being absolutely worthless and feeling like crap just because you have no gold. But on the flip side of that, if you spend a weekend, crafting an epic, or a week if you're more casual, you can grind some primals and get an epic. You're going to be able to sell that for a good amount of gold, and all of a sudden you've got that big boost. If the inflation is there, then you can take advantage of it by pumping in gear into that economy that people are wanting to buy for big amounts of gold.
True.
So
TSW, the bloomer, dude. The absolute bloomer. I love to see it. Man, I love having these guys here. Type a heart in the chat or something if you enjoy these guys' company, man. I sure do. I could listen to you guys talk all day, man. It's been super duper fun. Chat, could I ask you guys a big favor, chat? You guys there, chat? Can you please go follow these guys, chat, and make it worth their time here? I would really appreciate it. I'm gonna link their socials. I got your YouTube, TSW, man. You actually have a lot of subs. We're almost 10k subs, man. A lot of love in the chat for both of you. You have a lot of supporters, man.
Yeah, I've been doing it slowly and inconsistently for a long time.
Yeah, he does. He's had a lot of good videos. I've watched a lot of his videos in the past. I was kind of excited, like, oh yeah, you'll be a TSW today. I was like, no shit. Holy hell.
We bring the best here.
Shout out to Chris, man. The hero here setting it all up, dude. So I can, like a kid in a candy shop asking all these questions, learning, man. Yo, Crix, man, you're a beast.
Yeah, shout out to these guys for some reason letting me still raid with them.
Dr.
It's
Kael,
easy to get a spot in a raid as a warlock. What can we say? Warlock good, rogue bad.
That's true.
I don't think you have a Twitch, or do you, Kael? I know you have the.
Oh yeah, it's twitch.tv/warriortsw. Same username as the.
Okay, that's your Twitch. What about you, Dr. Kael? Do you have a Twitch?
I do not. We just have like our Get Carried YouTube channel.
Let's link that one.
Which we just upload kill videos.
Gotta link something
of our
for
current adventures on whatever private server we're on.
Here's Warrior TSW's Twitch, guys. Please, if you like the content, the best way you can support the content is to make it worth the guest time. Please, just give him a follow or a sub. It's free. Just to hit him with that, show him some support. These are going to be some of your thought leaders here come TBC. So all of us here are we're like a little bit ahead of the curve, yo. Feels good, man. We're doing our research, getting squared away.
It's a big inspiration seeing you guys do your content. It means like people like me, like it makes me want to make my own content, and it does fuel, even if I do upload very, very infrequently.
No, we appreciate you big time. Do you have the Get Carried YouTube by chance? Bricks, I had
let me
I
go.
lost it.
Let me find it.
Can I get Dr. Kael's Snapchat? Oh yeah.
I mean, I do have the best Snapchat. That's
pretty funny.
Damn. Premium? Or just free?
Oh, it's always free, man.
Okay.
I said it on Discord.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. What do you guys think though? TSW, Dr. Kael, is there anything else like with regard to tanking you might want to let the people know? I mean, we already got a lot off our chest. Any final closing thoughts? Anything tanking related? Or it doesn't have to be related to that. It could be anything.
I really hope to see, like, if it is much as a joke, I'm praying I get to see the Ret Prot Paladin, the meta. I would really enjoy it. I think it'd be fun, like Vengeance, Ret Prot Pally. But other than that, I'm curious to see what we're all gonna get. I feel like I'm gonna be let down in TBC Classic, but I'm stoked for it. I'm hoping for fresh servers. I'm really hoping for fresh servers, like as an option.
Yeah.
My expectations are so low based on Classic that, you know, if they release TBC, it'll be, oh, that's nice. You know, it's something. You know, it's +1. But yeah, like Classics. Yeah, I'm not terribly impressed by Classic.
Yeah.
Like they've recently added PTR for Nax for the wings as they go, and besides that and Zul'Gurub, they've done. Am I correct in saying no PTR testing, apart from like the streamer like beta? And
they
stuff?
did ZG on the PTR. I think the only one they didn't do was AQ, right, or something. That was my understanding.
They didn't do Blackwing Lair.
Yeah, you might be right actually.
And was Molten Core in before launch?
No.
For testing, I don't think it was.
They didn't do testing in it.
No. I think it's only Zul'Gurub.
Yeah, I think it was. I think you're right. Yeah.
But like, I'm very glad that they're doing Nax, because at least then we should have a good final tier. But if they hadn't have done Nax, like Blizzard is so checked out at this point in terms of Classic, like they must give it no resources.
Yeah. Well, we'll make it great, man. We'll make it great. TBC is a hell of a time. I can't wait. It'll be your guys like really day in the sun. You know, like you guys all of your hard work learning about the game.
Yeah, and then real life kicks in launch day, and then you can't for some reason.
Yeah.
Again, my expectations. I'm trying to manage mine as much as I can, just to not get too caught up in the hype. I am excited.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we all are.
Gotta get hyped, man.
Gotta get hyped.
I'm real. I like. As much as I'm not a huge fan of the whole speed runs, but I know that is kind of like how currently guilds are ranked. I'm just kind of excited to get in there and kill bosses with some homies.
Well, if the progression's hard, then the first kills will have more prestige. Whereas now, anyone could, like week 1, you could, if you were reasonable, you could foreseeably pug the content day 1, and that means nothing. Like progression means nothing, and it's all about speed kills. Whereas if in TBC you're actually wiping and no one is one-shotting bosses, there'd be a lot more emphasis on the progression kills versus the speed kills.
Makes sense.
Which I would just really like.
Yeah.
But
it would have to be difficult for the average player, because the good guilds are going to blast it even if it is fairly hard. Like, they might wipe once or twice, maybe 5 wipes. They're still clearing content in the first day. And particularly if they're having all their tier 3 gear, and they're coming in with, gold cap, and they've got consumes for days, you could foreseeably have full consumes all the way leveling to 70 and all the way doing that night's progression of tier 4, and tomorrow you clear tier 5. That you could legitimately be like, if it's how classic is now, you would potentially level to 70 in the first day, tier 4 the second day, and tier 5 the third day. And TBC is essentially over in 3 days, whilst other people are level 61. They've just got out the lag of Hellfire.
Well, we've been talking about this on the past podcasts and some of the other stuff we've been going on recently. The idea that maybe Blizzard could use, maybe learn from Classic and go, okay, this is really a different time we're living in these days, and we tried, it a certain way.
But
maybe in TBC, if they
the whole vanilla for them to do that, why not do it mid-vanilla?
True, but I mean, it's just one life cycle of servers, maybe they're just going through it like this one time. But how would you guys feel if they literally 5x the difficulty of TBC, and they kind of built it into their marketing, and they're like, you are really not prepared, remember TBC back in the day when you were a kid? Well, this is like TBC on crack, 5x difficulty, you go into Karazhan, you get one-shotted by the first boss.
The viability of the warrior tank would very much be diminished. You would possibly just run 2 feral tanks, and then the arms warrior doing the debuffs and the buffs of the warrior tank.
I thought you said warrior's the best for progression, though.
Yes, early on, day 1, but
it's kind of,
if you're not clearing it with a warrior, you have to clear it with a druid sort of thing. You have to wait until the druids get good, and then you can do it with a druid sort of thing, where a warrior cannot physically survive a 20k swing when you're fresh level 70, whereas a druid more or less can, or will be there before a warrior can. And if it's tuned times 5, where the mobs are literally, on some private servers where they tune it so high, you literally are there to survive the one shot, and then you just get healed to full, and then he swings again. You survive the one shot every melee swing, and that's how you play on some of these crazy, highly tuned servers. And all it is the best tank is whichever one can survive that, and the best healer is whoever can heal that, and the best DPS is whoever can do the best DPS. And that's how you really do mess with the whole gameplay and the viability of, for example, rogues. The whole meme now is rogue bad because they don't have the hit rating, they don't have the attack power to support them, blah blah blah. And you're pushing all of those casual players, or all of those players who want to play. The good thing about TBC is you're bringing the hybrid specs, you're having more flavor. But if they do times 5 difficulty, you're going to see the min-max culture. It's going to be hunters, warriors.
It might be package is going to be unreal.
Yeah, I see what you mean. That's actually
I would point. I'm currently playing on a buff server. I like the challenge, but I don't know. There's always 5x is too hard. Normal's way too easy. Everyone's gonna always have their own opinion on what it should be.
Ideally, you would say leave it to Blizzard, because they're the ones who made the game, to make it good. Because a lot of private servers just say buff boss health 20%, buff boss base damage 20%, and call it a day. And that gives you some form of artificial difficulty. But really what you want to do is come at it from a boss mechanics point of view. Maybe he does his mortal strike more frequently, so the debuff is on the tank more, so he's taking less damage. Or maybe he's summoning more adds, or more adds more frequently, or doing all this crazy stuff. Or instead of teleporting one player away and CCing them, he's doing 2. Or the enrage timer isn't a hard enrage where he's one-shotting the tank, but it's maybe he's 2-shotting the tank, but it's a bit earlier. So instead of a 6-minute hard enrage, it's a 5-minute soft enrage.
That makes so much sense, because then you're not just surviving the one shot, like you said. You're actually having to play with more skill.
But it's 2020 Activision Blizzard making those shots, which isn't the same Blizzard as back in the day. So there is less faith in the developers doing that. And again, with what we've seen from Classic, I have much less faith in the development going forward, just because of what we have seen historically from Classic.
Would you rather see, if TBC launched tomorrow, would you rather see it, 2.5 times easier, or would you rather see it how it is right now on the servers you're playing on right now?
Like this. This is almost like
our server, 100%.
It's way more like the servers aren't hugely populated. There's no phasing. People are here to play TBC. People aren't coming in here with all of their level 60 gear. And I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing, but it's nice to play TBC without Atiesh and people just disregarding tier 4, tier 5 weapons because they've got Atiesh. We don't have people, coming in with Thunder Fury, although Thunder Fury is very cool and fun, but at the same time, it's you're disregarding that. So you have 14 item slots, and if you've got a good trinket and a good weapon, you're cutting out 2/14 of your gear, and gear progression is a fun thing in an MMO. Straight away you're just peeling it back and reducing it down more and more and diluting the gameplay.
Did you hear what Crick said on the last podcast too? He was saying he was very passionate about it, saying that if you roll into TBC with massive gold, 20k gold, he thought it would potentially ruin it because you would be cutting out so much of the content and stuff. You could just buy all the best gear.
I don't think 20k is going to buy you best gear. Not a full set, not if you're a Warlock.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
so it's close.
Well, yeah, coming into TBC with whether it's T3 gear or a bunch of gold, there's no way anybody's gonna be oh, this is how TBC was. It's, oh yeah, I can go farm 41 badges early on, which is kind of difficult earlier on. Okay, that's a lot of heroics. Nope, I've got the whatever it is out of Nax that's 6 less attack power. There's no way you're I'm gonna go get Bloodlust Brooch right away. You're not. You've got Slayer's Crest, I think is what it's called, and it's just great. I'm set. Oh god, it would just gut me. But, if you throw gold in on top of it, yeah, you're gonna have everyone with max professions. Everyone's gonna be an alchemist and a tailor to help out their warlocks, and everybody with primal mites, all their cloth cooldowns. Everybody's gonna have it. It would be brutal.
It's going to be miserable if they do that.
Also, thinking about that trinket, let's be conservative and say that takes 20 hours to farm those 41 badges. And again, conservative, let's say that you can farm 200 gold an hour. That's a 40,000 gold trinket, effectively. The 41 badge.
Exactly.
Damn,
so
dude, what?
That's exactly how you have to look at it.
Fairly conservative numbers, but that's how you can value things, yeah? Whenever I'm playing hardcore on a private server, I hate it when I'm every time you're progressing on a fresh server, your gold should more or less be 0 at time of progress, because you've maxed out on professions, you've maxed out on consumables most importantly, and you've maxed out on BOE craft gear and all that sort of thing. Whereas if you have 10k gold in your pocket, that could be, if there's a hunter over there not mana potting or whatever, that could be furthering his damage. So it's really annoying for me when you see people who are noobs or social players or just not raiding on the cutting edge, and they can just afford to spend more time in heroics. They're gathering that ancient lichen for the tank consumables, and they can just pop that on the auction house for ridiculous prices because it's quite a difficult herb to get because it's only found in instances. And because I'm spending hours in raids, not hours in instances, because I've just skipped almost all the I've done the bare minimum of 5-man content to go straight into the raids, and other people are farming badges and getting doing other stuff, and it's just, you can still make a lot of money by not being a hardcore competitive player just because you have access to the resources.
You have to know that stuff though, man. They wouldn't know about that. See, that's the tips right there. If you're going into it with not a lot of gold and stuff, you gotta farm that exact thing you're talking about. Yeah.
I mean, dude, if you're chugging armor pots on cooldown, you're gonna be spending a lot of money. Armor pot is, I think, the most expensive potion.
Damn.
Yeah. Fell mana potion's pretty up there too.
Would you guys play fresh, or
That was a brutal one.
if real
I'd much
TBC?
rather play fresh.
You would play.
I
Fresh?
think they should do. Yeah, if they did, like, I expect they're not going to do fresh before TBC. I expect they won't do fresh out. I expect, well, from a Blizzard point of view, I think they'll launch fresh release day of TBC.
I think so too. I think that I was really trying to break it down and to try to find the pros and cons and like put on my Activision, shareholder hat and all that. I do think they're gonna have 1 to 2 maybe TBC fresh
Dude, they're
servers.
going to be full AF, dude, on launch. There are going to be so many people who are, just upset with the whole classic situation. But, having said that, 2 months or 6 months after TBC launch, there'll be gold inflation. Like, don't think that that's going to fix the issue necessarily, but in the short term, it definitely will. And gold's a lot easier to come by in TBC. Like, people are saying, 20k gold, whatever, in classic is a lot. In TBC, it's like that's like having 120k gold or more. Like, the epic mount is a good way to go off it. The epic mount, which is sought after in classic, is 1k. TBC, it's 5k. So that gives you some way to value the both against each other.
Gotcha. Well, anyways, guys, let's wrap up. I really can't thank you enough for spending your time with us, man. I learned so much. Hope everybody in chat learned so much.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Thank you guys both. I appreciate it, man. Thank you guys, man.
All right,
I love it.
This is
Huge brain.
The Dark Portal episode 3, guys. We're signing out. Please follow these guys if you can. If you have a free moment of your time, that's the best way you can support the channel. I'm gonna throw their socials in one more time. Take care, everyone. Hope you have a great rest of your night here. We are going to host my man Zegers. So